Wow, here we are.
We're here and we're live.
Yeah, and my hair is wet because Robert is in California in Cupertino. He works for Apple, for those of you who don't know. And he's there all week, which means that I'm on dog duty both times a day that she needs, or 3 times a day that she needs to go out. And it was either go right now while it's kind of sprinkling before the show, just before the show started, or go in the middle of the show between guests when it might be raining even harder. So,
and Robert dries your hair for you. That's the problem.
No, it's wet outside, so I got wet walking Baker.
Well, just dry your hair.
I didn't have time. But speaking of Robert, he right before the show started, he sent a photo to me of his current location, and I just wanted to share it because I'm a huge Apple fanboy. It's so cool that he's out there at the spaceship. But he looks super cute too.
Aw, he's at a rainbow.
That's the amphitheater at the Apple campus in Cupertino.
Oh, I thought it was one of the lyrics from a song that we're writing together.
No, it is not. It is definitely not. But
we have 2 songs we're writing that have rainbows in them. So
we do.
Yeah, both of the songs that we have with Differently Made and with Remake the World both have sections that deal with rainbows. So.
Gotcha. Speaking of which, Randy Rainbow put out a new video today. Did you see it?
I did not. I have not.
Yeah, it's really funny. Of course, it's all about Ron DeSantis, unfortunately. But I think Randy does some of the most seriously, really, really smart, kind of subversive political humor, so it's a parody of Welcome to the 60s from Hairspray.
I know that song.
Yeah, so I'll play us a little clip of the beginning.
Nice to see you too, David. We're happy that you're here with us.
Hi, David. Long time. Good to have you back. Let's see. Stop screen. Present. Share screen.
Hi, Kareem.
Okay, will you add me into the stream?
I will add you into the stream.
Listen, thanks for doing this interview. I know it's not your typical style.
Absolutely.
Have you ever met a gay person before?
I deal better with regular people.
We are back, and joining me now is the worst thing to happen to Disney since the It's a Small World ride, and the most boring, Governor Ron DeSantis.
Welcome to the free state of Florida.
Okay, let's cut this shit. Governor, you go by so many nicknames. Which do you prefer I call you? Ron DeSanctimonious? Meatball Ron? Dull as dishwater DeSantis? Trump Light? Little Ronnie Pudding Fingers? Ronald McDoofus? I can continue.
You can call me whatever you want. I mean, just as long as you also call me a winner.
Girl. No. You have become quite a star, my friend, using your evil to turn back time and make your state an unsafe place for so many.
That's just what I do.
Well, I guess my question is, are you ready to do it on a national scale?
Absolutely.
Do you have what it takes, Governor, to snatch Donald Trump's $5 weave and steal the MAGA base?
I think the country wants a change. I think they want a fresh start and in a new direction.
Ron DeSantis, has fame gone to your head and made you wacky? Fresh and new is yesterday's vibe. Who needs cultural advancement, diversity, compassion, or Trixie Mattel? This country's in a slow-burning Uber X headed right back to the dark ages. And baby, you're just the heartless autocratic wannabe to drive us there.
Hey MAGA, y'all take note.
He's so good. So good.
Cut off the best part with the song.
Listen, I don't want us to get dinged for the content.
So. That's fair. And also, we don't want to get too political on the show, of course.
No, we want to get political. As the show's always kind of been political, I think. So,
hi, Black Bear.
Hi, Black Bear.
Hi,
I saw a comment about Ron's name from Black Bear, but
Ron Death Sentence. That was one of his COVID nicknames during the COVID era. Well, I mean, I tend to think that anything that we make with SideKick Productions is at least on some spectrum of political.
Absolutely. Now more than ever. Really.
Absolutely.
Just a quick shout out to our merch. You can get one of these over at sidekicksupermarket.com.
And one of these.
Ooh, nice. And shout out to everybody who's been buying them. It's been very cool to have the orders come in.
And what he says right there. Being
Yes.
fat and queer is inherently political. I agree with that very much so.
Wow, you know,
did you see what happened in New York just last week? Actually, so after we they just passed the law in New York City that it is illegal to discriminate for hiring based on weight and height.
I did hear that. Yeah.
So exciting news for New York City. I know that a lot of people were working towards that.
Yeah.
A lot of people I follow on TikTok were working towards that, and I think it's really exciting news.
Absolutely. And speaking of New York City, which is where you are in Queens, our first guest that we're going to have on in just a little bit is also in Queens, I believe. So looking forward to having them on. That's Chris Conde. You can follow them on Instagram right now as Chris Conde the rapper, and I'll get a little graphic up for you folks here shortly on that. And then, and I know Chris, you know, I don't even know that we've actually formally met, but maybe once or twice, like in passing. So we'll have to talk about that. But I know Chris from Texas, from here in Austin, would see them do their shows, promoting their shows and stuff. I never got to see a live show. And then about, I don't know, an hour ago, no, not an hour, a year or so ago, I suddenly was just like, wow, what's going on? Because like, they're fucking awesome. Very sex positive, very queer positive, very political, I would say. And it's just by being what it is in the same sense. And then our second guest tonight, tell us about Dhafir.
Defear Jackson is an editor of 2 books now, and I have the special fortune, I guess is the word I'll use. Fortune. I tried to find my way around. I got lost when I added the word special in there. I shouldn't have ever said. I had the fortune, good fortune. There we go. The good fortune to be in the second book that just came out earlier this year, Theater Well Fat. So Defear Jackson has edited 2 books, Theater Well Colored and Theater Well Fat. And we're going to talk to him about the books. He's also a huge horror fan, so that's something that he and I like a great deal. So
awesome.
So it'll be fun.
Awesome. Well, last week we had a good time. If you missed us in our first show back in ages, it felt like, we kicked off our new format, which we're going to be doing again tonight, which is essentially Josh and I come in for, half an hour and catch up on what's going on in the world, what's going on important about Sidekick, if there's anything we need to talk about really quick. And then we, kind of just discuss the guests that are coming on. We discuss the guests that are coming on, and then we bring those guests on. And they may be here for 45 minutes, they may be here for an hour, probably no longer than an hour. And we'll also do, some behind the scenes stuff tonight while we're here. Last week we had a lot of fun because we ended up doing this little pitch game that I think everybody in the Croonverse should now be required to play. But Alex Colon was on, and we gave him a moment to basically pitch an idea to Sidekick Productions that would be his starring vehicle that would center around him. And it actually led to a lot of really good ideas about stuff. So I was pretty excited about that.
Yeah, it led to ideas, yeah. So
yeah. Josh, we can't have any ideas that are outside of his brain.
That is not true.
I know.
That's what the art of blowing it's for.
That's right. It started in one brain and was shared by 2.
That's right. But how was your weekend?
My weekend was really good. I had a really good Friday night. Our friends Collie and Justin came over, and we ordered pizza, and we watched all Drag Race and Untucked back to back, basically. And
3 hours. That's almost 4 hours of Drag Race.
And we didn't start until like 9 o'clock or something because our pizza was late. And anyway, so yeah, and then Saturday, what did we do Saturday? It was something cool. Oh, we went shopping for Robert Saturday. No, we went shopping for Robert. That was last week. Sorry. What did we do Saturday during the day? We went somewhere. Because on the way back, Robert had to go pick up a machine to take with him to California. So we went to pick that up, and then we went to lunch, and then we came back, and then I went to see Jason Isbell in the 400 unit at ACL Live, and it was incredible. I took my friend Jody Denberg. We just had a real blast. So good. I mean, I was already a Jason Isbell fan, but walking out of there the Saturday night, I was really, really like it. My appreciation for him has grown immensely. They really killed it. And then, what did I do Sunday? Well, yesterday Robert flew out, so most of the day was, getting ready for Robert to go. We finished season 2 of Ted Lasso yesterday morning, and then I dropped him off at the airport. And then here we are. Where does one shop for a Robert? Well, in this case, we shopped at Dillard's. And
Dominic Dillard's, the Donut King?
No, Texas Dillard's, which most people would probably say is like the equivalent of like a Belk or I guess what's another bit? Macy's.
Macy's I've heard of because it's the biggest store in the world.
So yeah, it's kind of like that Dillard's, yeah. But we also actually went to DXL, and unfortunately DXL just wasn't giving. Like it was really sad because like Mario Jose is on the front of the building and looking extra cute, like he's just in the middle of a song with his gorgeous voice, and then you walk in and it was just, I feel like, and maybe you guys in the comments, you tell me, I've just been, as a person who has shopped there before when I was larger, and as a person who has shopped there for years with my husband, I don't feel like the styles in there change much. It's like, it's always, now, that's a good thing for the most part because you want some basics, right? But there's stuff that they could change up. This always looks the same, or it always kind of a little bit different. I don't know. Has that been your experience?
Well, I've never shopped at DXL because when I stare at the characters and the people on the websites, I'm not really infatuated with the fashion there. Tends to be very muted, traditional colors of like light blues and taupes and things like that. I'm not really into those sort of muted basic colors. Also, it tends to be basically just checkers and plaids and all things that basically I guess a dad would wear, but I am far from being a dad. And I'm not a daddy either.
Not yet, anyway.
I will never be a daddy. Stuart and I had this discussion over the weekend. Stuart said I didn't have a daddy in me. And I agree with him. And I am just not a daddy. I will be many things. I will be fabulous, but I will never be a daddy, despite many of the people around me growing up to be that way. And see, Chunky agrees with me. The lack of color is depressing.
Yeah, see, so we're not alone.
And they seem to be stuck 8 years behind. I agree with him there. I was going to say more like 50 years behind because it feels...
Well, it's not 50. And, I used to actually work at the original thing, casual male, big and tall, because big and tall people are casual. But anyway, I used to work there when I lived in Atlanta, and I had a manager named Proctor, and when you hear that name, whatever like up, kind of like tight ass vision you have in your head of who that person is, that's probably how Proctor was. He was what a character. But anyway, it was a bonus for me because I was basically helping all these hot, guys come in and try and close. But I worked there for about 6 months or so, I think.
Well,
I've had a lot of jobs. We should have a jobs focused episode where we talk about jobs that we've had, and then we talk about it with our guests.
We can do that. That would be interesting, I think.
I did put up that's Chris's Instagram. Somebody, I think, messaged me and asked what it was. And I don't know what Dhafir's is, but if you want to make one before they get in here tonight, that'd be great.
Sure.
Let me see. Let's double check and make sure I don't have any messages about tonight.
And in the meantime, thank you so much for asking how my weekend was. It was.
Sorry, we did kind of just move on. Wait,
but right.
you did something really fun this weekend. You got to hang out with Stuart.
I mean, I think we should start at the beginning of the weekend. I got to finally see Guardians of the Galaxy. It took me 4 hours and a week to get there. So it was great, though. I had a really good time. We went to the Alamo Drafthouse, which is my favorite movie theater in New York City, mostly because it's quiet and you get to have food. Well, you get to pay for food, but they bring it to you. You don't have to actually go and get it. They just bring it to your table, as you know, because you were from the first Alamo Drafthouse. So
correct.
But in New York City, they're just superb. But no, so I went to Guardians. It was really lovely. It was a really funny, heartfelt film. I think I was saddest about the fact that I just knew that I really enjoyed watching these people on screen and in these adventures that they're having, and that this would be the last time we'd ever see them do that together. And that was I think what made it a little sadder than more than anything. But also the story, for anyone who's seen it, it is a very sad story. So
yeah. Just in case you haven't seen it and you're watching and you don't want to hear any spoilers, this is your heads up that in just a moment we're going to have some spoilers, so you may want to mute us until you see the spoilers banner is off. Josh, I cried like 4 or 5 times, and not really because people were dying, because, spoiler alert, basically nobody dies.
No, that's not true at all. Lots of people die.
Well, yes, a whole planet of people die. Sorry, but I just meant of the core team. I cried a lot, and I thought it was really emotional. What did you think of this new version at the end of the new Guardians?
They're cute. I don't know much about most of them. I mean, his brother's character, Sean Gunn's character, has never really been a strong, like, I've never had a reaction to him or anything. He's been there, he's been fun, but he's always been in the background for me. I think Cosmo's always a fun addition, especially when they really made her a fun one. And then I have no idea who the little blonde girl is, but she seemed like she had some power to her.
Yes.
And then, of course, Rocket and Groot are Rocket and Groot. So, I mean, they're great. But yes, as Chunkahedron says, it needed way more Howard the Duck. So...
You know what? I was just glad we got to see Howard again.
One last bit of Howard. It was nice. But I adore the High Evolutionary.
That was one of the best anti-heroes ever, right?
I wouldn't call him he's just a straight up villain. I mean, he's not an anti-hero.
Not anti-hero, sorry.
He's not doing the good, but despite being bad, he's just a bad person.
Right, that's true. Which they dramatically changed from James really mixed it up there. So
the original in the comics, the High Evolutionary is a human who grew up on Earth and everything. This is a High Evolutionary from another planet and all that. But I'm fine with that. Plus the actor is just wonderful. If you have never seen the Peacemaker TV series, he is such a wonderful part of the Peacemaker TV series. Totally. But he's even better in this. Really, he's definitely one of my favorite Marvel villains, I would say. So
yeah, he might be my favorite Marvel of the cinematic universe. All right, well, enough about that. So real quick, while we are talking, I want to...
really doesn't want to talk about my weekend, so...
Wait, what happened? Did we not get there?
Well, we just got to Friday. That was Friday.
Oh, shit. Well, tell me what happened Saturday.
Saturday was... I was doing a lot of work, but I was also, as you said, I got to hang out with Stuart, so that's always fun. Paul and I hung out with Stuart, and we got to... just catch up and everything. It's always a great time when you get to catch up with Stuart and see his new haircut, which he has to post at some point. He hasn't done that yet. So, and then Sunday I got to go to the closing performance of Eight Tales of Pedro, which was Mark Eugene Garcia's play that was going on at the Queen's Theater. And if anyone knows Mark Eugene Garcia, he knows how you all know how much we are all devoted and adore him so much. And this is a beautiful play that combines all of the things that make Mark such an awesome artist: his heart, his laughter, and his tears, all in one play. It really does a lot to touch and educate on immigration, and it's really just a beautiful performance. So if you can get a copy of the script, which you can get because it is published and you can buy it, it's a really great time. But it is definitely a great play. And I got to also hang out with Catalin because Catalin was doing the filming and the taking pictures of the whole thing. So that was a fun experience. And then the whole weekend I was just always playing my favorite game at this time of year since 2020. It's my new favorite game. Is it allergies or COVID? And that was that was so much fun. It was, spoiler alert, not COVID. So
wait, I can turn off the spoiler banner.
You can.
Okay. If the spoiler banner's off, you can get back on. Seized Anthonics says buying big and tall shirts at a department store is so depressing. It's usually either a cartoon dog with muscles and sunglasses, or just some beer brand. That is true. That's tough to find stuff for sure.
And then I'm surprised, but Dave talked about. Did you get this? I mean, I feel like this.
But I did get something to cheer me up. I received a copy of Legend of Zelda: Tears of Kingdom. No, I have not played that yet, and my lunch date today was talking about it. So I definitely, but I did not play the Breath of the Wind of the Breath.
I don't feel like you're a Zelda person.
No, I used to be, but I'm just kind of behind. So it also kind of reminds me of my friend Bill, and he kind of drank himself to death. I don't know. Anyway,
I don't feel like you're a Nintendo person much.
Really. I mean, remember when I was hardcore Animal Crossing?
I mean, is that it? Was that? Well, I guess it is Nintendo, yeah, but that's not really Nintendo. It's just sort of.
That's the Nintendo thing. Between that and Pokemon, that's the only two things I hardly ever see people playing on Switch.
But and Dave, just because I saw your comment, I hope that things go well with you at the dentist and everything. So.
Yes, I hope so too. Okay, let's do a quick commercial, and then when we come back, we'll bring in our first guest of the evening, which I'm very excited about. And let's do a little Demon Doctor, shall we?
Well, that's.
Hello? Somebody there? Hey. Who are you?
Harvest? Yes, this symbol is on every single victim.
So it's vengeance you seek.
Nothing about this is fine!
People don't just randomly kill. There has to be a pattern here.
I screwed up big time! I can't find an answer about the scissor slasher, and I can't find an answer about what I am.
That was not my task.
I trust you.
This is terrifying. But fun?
Right.
Okay, so maybe I embellish a thing or two on immortality.
With love as well as with magic. There is always a price.
I am very much looking forward to it.
Every time I watch that trailer, I get such a kick out of it. There's so many great little. You really pick some of the best moments from the season to highlight. It's but while still there's so many things that people are going to be like, oh my god.
Well, there's so much that's not even in that trailer that still has to come.
I know.
I mean, there are things that people will just. Specifically episodes 7 and 8, I think there will be things that people are like, where did this come from, Josh, and what are you doing?
Yeah.
And also this is so awesome because they're gonna think it's awesome. So
okay. So anyway, I'm just thinking about the sound design for that episode when what's his face flips on the light and finds her in the corner.
Once Marlo, yeah. Ah!
Yeah.
The last episode that's been out.
Right. 4. When you watch that episode, folks, if you want, you can. I'm curious
4.
I'd love to hear what you think she's saying. Anyway, I tell you what I'm saying. I am telling you that I'm super duper over the moon ecstatic because we got Chris Conde coming in here tonight. I'm, as I said earlier when we were talking about them coming on, I don't know, I can't remember, and maybe we'll find out when they get on here, but I can't remember that I've ever seen them live. So I'm really, really excited by their current live show because I've seen lots of video from it. So now I really want to. But hopefully I'll be up in New York or something. And we've been trying to get them down here. We'll talk about it all when they get in here. So please welcome to SideKick Power Hour for their very first appearance. It's Chris Conde.
Hi.
Hi.
How are y'all?
Good. How are you tonight?
I'm good. I'm hanging. I'm dehydrated, but working through it. Yes, I need. Oh, thank you. Yes.
Nikki is nothing if not giving. So
yes, that's right. Chris, you're in Queens, right?
I'm in Brooklyn.
Oh, you're in Brooklyn. Okay, gotcha. So you're not too far from Josh.
Yeah, I'm in Bushwick. Where are you?
I'm in Maspeth, Queens.
Okay. Cute.
So if you right by the Queens Center Mall, basically. So
okay, yeah. That's not. I mean,
it's
I'm in Queens.
Yeah,
I'm in Queens a lot for all kinds of reasons.
I'm in Brooklyn a lot for multiple reasons.
Wasn't the gym that we shot A Taste of Youth? Wasn't that in Bushwick?
It was in Brooklyn.
Okay, gotcha.
I don't know where in Brooklyn.
Gotcha.
Mostly because I said, Paul, this is the address. Get me there. And he put it in the GPS and he drove the car there. And then I just said, I got to focus on acting and filming this today. So
sure. Okay. Well, welcome to the show, Chris. As I said earlier, I don't think that I've ever seen you live. If you remember seeing me at one of your shows, please correct me, but I don't think I have. Do you remember seeing me at one?
I black out at my own shows. Like, honestly, I
know that feeling.
I'm such a, I mean, a lot of people think, I think people, and both y'all being performers understand this. It's like, oh, you're a performer, you are outgoing. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, and especially like at a show, like I feel more comfortable being in the spaces that I'm in because I have a reason to be there. Mm-hmm. Like, but being super introverted, it's like, I'm more aware of myself and how I'm responding to people than I am actually like remembering who I'm talking to.
Interesting.
You know, which is like I feel like it's like a character defect of mine, but it's just like, I don't think it's an asset nor a defect. It's just, it is what it is at this point. Sure. You know, and as I try and, I treat everyone with respect and kindness, but I don't know who I've talked to as soon as I leave the building. You know what I mean? So long story short, I don't know about seeing you at my shows.
Yeah. No, I get that too. Like, especially when you're doing a lot of shows in a row too. There certainly is this tendency to kind of like for me, when I've been on tour, I find a lot of the times it's hard to remember, like, was that in this city or that city?
Yeah, totally.
Because they do all start looking the same because they all have this kind of gas station on this corner.
Right.
So many different things that are the same basically in every city.
Right. Yeah. Like for me, it was like, did I suck that Dutch guy's dick in Harlem or Amsterdam?
Right.
Or was it, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
That's funny. Earlier when you were talking about not being able to remember people's faces or names at shows, I thought, I wonder if you remember Tricks.
Yeah. I think because like, I think it's a little bit more, there is a performance involved, right? But I think there's like intimacy and there's like energy exchange, and it's like, was this guy nice? Was he pleasant? And like something that I've been having a lot of conversations with a lot of people has been like courtesy in all spaces, right? Like in sex parties, like in, with the cum dump, with like all
Sure.
these things, you know what I mean? Like holding space and like holding space for courtesy and politeness to happen is so important. Like I was like, I can talk about whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, one of the reasons I brought you on is because I would hope you would talk about whatever. So.
Okay, cool. So like I was like I was at this party, Inferno.
I've heard of this party, yes.
Okay. And so I was like fucking this dude at the beginning of the party, and then I was like socializing and having, just hooking up with different people. And I was getting a little tired, and I'm like, oh, I should go and I should like come and, leave the party or whatever. And I saw that the guy was like in a sling and he was getting fucked. And I was like, okay, I was like, hey, I would love to like breed you before I leave. And I just was like, I didn't interrupt anything. I was just like, trying to like match the energy a little bit. And the guy that was fucking him like heard me and was like, oh, well, whenever you're ready to like breed him, like just let me know and I'll let you have a turn. Right. And I was like, like that's great and that's amazing. There was no like dominance. It was just like courteous and polite. And it's like we need to like there's no reason we can't have that, in all spaces that we're occupying, especially as queer people and especially as queer people to each other, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I think that to me kind of brings back something I was talking about the last couple of days. Actually brings back two things. Mm-hmm. Last night, I had a guy that messaged me on Scruff and was like, oh yeah, I already sucked your dick. Because I was like, oh, you're really cute.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, I'm so sorry. I totally forgot.
Yeah.
But whatever. And then today I was talking about like why I prefer that, mostly to have sex with friends than just random people all the time. Not that I don't get my share of both, but lately I've been more interested in the people that I could actually like, roll around with afterwards and like kind of, laugh about or, chill with. And I think that's mostly says a lot about like my state of mind, about like what kind of care I need around sex, and what I feel like I deserve, or whatever. Don't get me wrong. There are times when I'm like, oh, what I deserve is to be like down on my knees being told what to do by a really hot daddy or whatever. But, a lot of the times I just really want to have that, like you were saying, that physical exchange of like that intimate energy, Like
yeah. I think there's time for all of it, and it's like, I had a friend who was talking about this recently where he was at a party and, this guy, he was the cum dump and he was like, I just want to be a hole, and it was that scenario. And this guy, like he was there with his boyfriend, the guy that I'm talking, not the cum dump, the other guy that I'm talking about. And his boyfriend was like, after a couple hours, the guy was like, oh, we should like check in on him and see how he's doing. And my friend was like, no, he wants to be a hole.
Right.
So hold space for him just to be a hole. Right. And that's its own separate thing too. It's like, sure. And also like the host of the party was like checking in on him and like, you know what I mean? So I think there's like holding space for like whatever you need, but making sure it's like, obviously consent or whatever, but like in BDSM and kink, etc., it's like, you can experience all of it. Myself, I love sensual, long, sessions. And then I also just want to like, breed a quick like come and go situation.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And like, I think all of it's valid and all of it is like, like I need all of it. You know what I mean? And there's seasons where I need more of other things and whatever, but yeah, so
that's what Jonathan Larson was singing about. Got it.
Seasons of love, baby.
Chris, this brings me to something else that I really wanted to talk to you about, because when I was chatting with Joshua about having you on, one of the things that happened was Joshua went to follow you on Instagram, and it asked him to confirm that he was an adult to follow you.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that was an option.
Yeah. I don't. It's weird because I don't know. I had turned it on for like 30 seconds.
Right.
And then I turned it off. But I think Instagram is like just recognizing my content as adult.
Sure.
And I have a lot to say and unpack about adults and like sex, etc.
Right.
It's like I don't think that it's like I'm not trying to market myself to children, right? However, when we experience sexuality, it's like we were looking at porn when we were like 15, 14, you know what I mean? And so like I'm not trying to create content for children, obviously,
right.
But I think like the stigma around sex and it being bad, especially gay sex, is going to perpetuate this shame with anyone, with sexuality in general. So it's like I'm like I don't want to censor myself at all. And I want to let whoever's in charge of these children make the choice, or whoever is in charge of this, you know what I mean? Like, make conscious decisions. Why are you looking at my page? I don't put on Instagram. I'd never post any like nudity. I never post like sexual positions. Like I'm in like spicy situations, not even situations. Like I'm like posing like, but I've gotten like shadow banned like so many times. I'm shadow banned currently right now because Instagram thinks that I post nudes, and it's like I don't. I do this process of I like blur out my genitalia in like Photoshop, and then I darken the image so it looks like I possibly could have genitalia exposed, but it's not.
Right.
And so, but Instagram's like, nope, that's a penis. And it's like, actually, like if you lighten the photo, it's not there.
Right.
But so I'm like, ugh, it's a little silly, but and right now it's like I'm promoting my music through these platforms, so I can't really afford to lose, you know, like this my following on Instagram, which is the majority of where a lot of people find my music.
Well,
you know?
Yeah, and a big part of that is because you put so much care and I don't know if it's planning, but certainly work into creating really great imagery that you're sharing, you know, that is really powerful, both just as from an artistic standpoint, as these beautifully shot photos and videos. But, you know, it's also a very, you know, intimate, like, form of self-expression that like it's the same way when people see, you know, Skeleton Crew or Demon Doctor for the first time and they see these fat characters in spaces like that, and they're like, oh my god, wow, I didn't even know that I could do that.
Yeah like, you know? I'm about to be obsessed with this show, by the way. Like I was like, what? Wait, what? I need to know the whole thing. Like, I want to see. Almost like So mind blown currently. So, but yeah, like I think like fat phobia is like alive and well, and homophobia is alive and well, especially right now.
Sure.
And so, because like if I was a straight cis, you know, I understand that I'm a white passing Mexican American person, but if I was like a cis, you know, blonde hair, blue eye, straight male with like half of my dick showing, they would not get taken down.
Abs.
Yeah, and abs. Right. And yeah, muscle, you know. And I'm like, y'all have such a it's like it's so I'm like, is it so shocking that like my body is way more normal than these bodies?
Right. Yeah.
Or natural. I don't want to say normal is like a stigmatized word now, but like more natural looking than these other bodies. Like, so I'm currently I'm working through, because it's like you're messing with my money, you know, like that's like kind of where I'm at. Like, it's not even so much like, oh, okay, this sucks or whatever, but it's like, I'm at a point in my career where it's like, I live in New York City. I have these contacts. I have these shows I need to promote. I'm on tour. Like before I left for Europe, I got banned from Facebook for like a week. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, if that was Instagram, like that would have sucked because I get paid for, you know, I don't know if my ads would have still kept going.
Right.
I don't know, like, but it's just like for, you know, and it's not like I'm needing to constantly like post videos and photos of myself being naked, but right now in my career, it's like it's very important. It's what I'm talking about right now. Like
Right.
a lot of my music has been about overcoming, you know, internalized homophobia, overcoming drug addiction. Will be 9 years free from alcohol next month. A lot of my content has been about that. A lot of my catalog is about that. Right now, it's like embracing a lot of my sexuality and like really taking notes from like Lil Kim and Missy Elliott and people who I grew up with, and being like, I'm going to be this like, I'm going to destigmatize sexuality through the lens of being fat and being queer, and I'm going to do it with hip hop, which is all about being who the fuck you are in whatever space you're occupying.
Right.
You know, and so yeah, it's like it's just kind of a moment where I'm seeing like how backwards I feel like social media is continuing to become. Like when you can't say fag because you're on the internet or Facebook or Instagram because you've reclaimed the word, but it's like, oh, this is hate speech. But like there's a whole corner of Facebook that's like, yeah, let's like fucking kill a bunch of gays, you know? Like what, you know? So
I struggle with that a lot on TikTok. A lot of the things that I post a lot of clips from the shows on TikTok, and TikTok is always banning or pulling down or hiding the clips that I put up because they're too sexual or they always say I'm violating the nudity. I'm like, no, first of all, this is on YouTube. There's no nudity here whatsoever. But it's very frustrating to I'm like, I don't know what I can post on TikTok anymore because it doesn't make sense to me. So
I want to see what the compliance groups look like. Like, are they fat? Are they of color? Are they queer? No, I doubt it. And how old are they? You know what I mean? Like, what generation are they from? You know what I mean? And it's like, I want to have a conversation with compliance. Excuse me, like I will pull the Karen, you know, like I want to speak to your manager.
You can never talk to them. There's no way to talk to them.
There's not.
It's just you disagree. You click a button and say I disagree with this, and then they say I accept your disagreement or I don't accept your disagreement, and there's no way to like follow up with that or anything.
And it's weird because it's like I think there's a lot of things to complain about, and there's a lot of noise in the air right now. There's a lot of noise on the internet and a lot of things that people are upset about. And so like I'm cautious of like using my platform to like air my frustration because it's like there's so many things that are terrible that we should be paying attention to. So I'm just like, is this really such a big deal that should I be talking about like, you know, the drag bans or like, you know, Black Lives Matter and like all these other things. And it's just like, this is important to me. And there's a whole community that has been like, you know, like, oh, like we're like as fat people, like we're consistently overlooked. We're consistently not invited, uninvited. You're uninvited. You know, like just.
Thank you, Elias.
And it's just like, it's these, you know, I can only speak from my perspective and my own experience. And it's like, you know, I started my TikTok like in 2021, like the beginning of 2021, I posted like me laying down in the snow underneath an orange tree in Texas because it was like it was just like this is a strange scene, right? Like me being naked underneath an orange tree in the snow in Texas, like what the fuck is going on? And then I never posted anything again until I moved to Brooklyn. And I started working at this piercing shop, and I was working with all these like Gen Z kids. And this is when I was wearing a lot more dresses, I was like presenting a lot more femme, and I've like kind of been back in that a little bit more. But I would come to work like just dressed to the nines in a hat, whatever, pulling very like Stop Congress, like Stetson hat and cowboy boots, you know. And one of my coworkers was like, you should post your outfits on TikTok. I'm like, no, TikTok's dumb. You're dumb. This is dumb. And I didn't call them dumb, but I was just like, this is silly. I'm like 36 years old. Like, I'm not going to post my outfits, you know?
Right.
And I was like, fuck it. Like, whatever. I'll do it once. And so, you know, I used the clip like, I'm giving main character energy. And I was in like a Betsy Johnson torrid, like tulle skirt, you know, and like a hat or something. And it got like 200,000 views, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? Okay. And then I started posting these things and I realized that like, and I started seeing these comments of all these like queer, fat people who were watching me being confident wearing whatever the fuck I wanted, you know? And I was like, oh, like I have been so focused on like just doing my music and doing these other things and like healing in these other areas that I haven't really looked at this whole journey of mine. You know, like fashion has been such an important part of me, expressing myself, like how, like the clothes that I wear, it's just kind of been very natural. So I've always just kind of done whatever the fuck I've wanted. But I'm like, oh, I have been on this crazy journey that like, I really, that so many other people have been on too, you know? And like, it was so important to me to see like how many of us, like this is like such a stigma, you know? And I'm like, wow. And so I just continue to do it, you know? And, but I'm really just like, I don't know. It's part of it's like heartbreaking because I see so many comments that are like, I wish I had your confidence. And I'm just like, girl, just like buy the dress, buy the boots, and then stomp the fucking sidewalk like it's a runway and you don't give a fuck. And because the more you do it, the more you're gonna not care. Like literally, like wear whatever the fuck like if you're listening right now and you are struggling with like wanting to wear something cute and you think that you look too fat or you look too like whatever, fuck all that shit. Just practice. Like even if it takes like going to Target like at 10 o'clock at night and like buying some socks, like wear whatever that outfit is out and like remember how you feel. It's gonna you're gonna feel nervous. You're gonna be like, I don't know. But the more you do it, the more you're gonna love it, and the more that other people are gonna see it too. Because it's about the visibility of like queer fat people seeing other queer fat people just living their life.
Yeah.
You know, and owning it.
I love that, Chris. That's really, really rad. You know, when Janelle Monáe was first coming up, she shared a housemate with all of her, a house with all of her bandmates. And one of the things that they did was they always wore tuxedos.
Oh, wow.
You know, in the house, hanging out, whatever, when they went out to get food or whatever, they would just wear tuxedos. And it was just to keep them in this mindset that they were something important, that they were, you know, really work, you know, that they deserve to shine. People should be looking at them, that sort of stuff. And I love that, you know, whatever we feel on the inside, you know, we should be able to share outwardly as long as it's not hurting other people, you know. But I wanted to circle back to your TikTok because I was curious about this, and then I'll tell you why this is important besides the fact that you're hot as hell. Is Josh, will you put me in?
Yes.
Yes.
And that's your very first TikTok.
Yeah.
And you can
I don't
see
even know
all of these other, you know, I mean, like I love this one.
I want a freak in the morning, a freak in the evening, just like me.
This girl passes by.
Just for me.
So good. Now I wanted to know, is it okay if I show them a little clip of Summertime?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, I'm gonna do that real quick then.
That's Caleb DeCasper, who's like currently like protesting the fuck out of the bills in Texas. This video is so fun.
There's Baba.
These are like all my friends.
That's the best way to film, though. Film with all your friends.
What you know about the summertime heat down here in Texas. It's 1,000,000 degrees, but I don't want to leave San Antonio's home. Catch me living la vida loca with my hotel flow. Yo, I spit it like a viper. Caliente roots Maya. Yeah, it's delicious when I rip the gift to get for hyper. So let this track ignite ya. It'll dusty get you higher.
That was the current editor of the Chronicle.
Oh, Kevin. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot he was in this video. I love Kevin.
Yeah, it's great. And that's Audrey from Pleasure Venom.
Oh, cool.
And Thomas.
Audrey.
Did you have a waterproof camera, or did you just be very careful?
They had a waterproof camera. We had to buy him that rainbow Speedo.
Oh, so good. So good.
Okay, so that line, the anything for Selena's, all the poppies out there, let me touch your penis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so El Dusty, who produced that track, is from Corpus Christi. And so he was in bands with former members of Selena's band.
Oh, wow.
So the original lyric was like, anything for Selena's, I said something about like Ibram, let me see that penis or something, like mentioning like, let me see that penis, Selena's dad.
Right.
And he's like, okay, I love you and I love that we're doing this. However, like I could get in so much trouble, like because I'm friends with the family and they're, you know, and I'm like, all right, censor the queer, you know, but I was just like, of course. And then that line ended up being like even more fun. So I was like, okay, cool. But
that's hilarious. Chris, so, you know, you, a lot of people who are just getting turned on to you now don't know that you also play guitar and that you know, you've had like, kind of a real journey of like genres and like what you do. I remember, didn't you do like a So Far Sounds or something?
Yeah, I've done a few So Far Sounds and they've all been acoustic.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, but I started out like with a DJ like back in Maryland before I moved to Texas. And when I moved to Texas, I just had my acoustic guitar and I've been playing in like acoustic guitar for a long time. But I thought, you know, like Lauryn Hill raps over like acoustic guitars.
Correct.
Like I could just do something similar. And so I started doing that and started rapping over acoustic guitars and like getting on like indie bills, and never like rap bills. And but I was also in metal bands and like hardcore bands. I kind of just did like whatever. And San Antonio was a really great city to be able to kind of like just have fun and spread out and just like do whatever you wanted. I felt like there was a little bit more pressure in Austin that's like people could be watching you from like the industry or like other bands. And like in San Antonio, it was just all our homies like hanging out and like supporting each other at our own shows. And I know that happens in Austin as well. Sure. But I think like San Antonio was great to just like explore like all these different things and like have fun. And but yeah, no, like and today it's like I played banjo for a while. Like I played banjo for a church back in Texas. And then was doing this whole like train hopping, like banjo rap with like my harmonica thing. And I got asked to finish this tour with Circa Survive. Like I opened up for them during the Blue Sky Noise tour for like 2 dates in Texas. And then Anthony Green was like, I fucking love your shit. Like hit the road with us. But I was like too spun out on meth to like get my shit together. So I was like, yeah, can I jump on the bus? And he's like, no, but you can drive your car. And I'm like, I don't have a car, you know? But yeah, like I've done like a lot of different things. And today, like really just writing raps and like working with other producers and letting myself kind of like curate like a song and like a message has been, and then like a lot of the imagery around it is kind of like where I really want my focus to be at the moment. Well, will I play acoustic guitar stuff like around and occasionally? Of course, you know.
Well, let's show people what's current for you right now. And we're only going to play a little clip of this so that people can go watch it. Wherever they want.
One.
I love your logo, by the way.
Oh, thank you. So the old metal band that I was in, the brothers shot this.
Oh, wow.
And I'm just like being very sexy towards.
Come on, blurred crack.
I know, right?
I love your Elvis.
Come on my beard, come on my mustache, come on my face and come on my ass, come on my beard, come on my mustache, come on my face and come on my ass.
So that you got to go watch that over. So is it Chris Conde, the rapper, on YouTube as well?
I think it's just Chris Conde. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Chris Conde. So youtube.com/Chris Conde. All of those videos, or just go to YouTube and search Chris Conde. Oh, cool, Alex.
Thanks, Alex.
Is that We Are Birds?
Alex? They Are Birds, yeah.
They Are Birds. Sorry.
That's Alex, who worked with us in on.
Yeah. Hey, Alex. I'm confused about people's usernames, not just their pronouns, but their usernames. I'm really turned into a full dad at this point. I love it.
Well, I was watching the but you need to bring back the dad mustache you had, because I was watching the intro and I was like, oh, well, there was that time that Nakia had a mustache. That's right.
Yeah. In fact, I had a mustache when we debuted Sebastian Jupiter in season 4.
You did have a mustache, and we debuted him. So
yeah, and one of the things I remember specifically was that I got there thinking that I was going to see you in a full beard.
Nope.
And it was the first time on camera that you shaved completely.
My face was shaved, my body was shaved. I was just completely shaven and shorn.
Yeah, so. Which was. I mean, you still look super hot, but it was such a shock. Because I had never seen you like that, so
most people hadn't. I've only did. It's a lot to maintain that sort of look and everything as well. So
yeah.
Well, not for some people. For me, it's a lot to maintain that sort of look because my arms are very short and it's hard to reach places. So.
Well, the other thing about your lifestyle though that I find very interesting, Josh, is you might be the only person I know who almost literally leaps out of bed at the same time almost every day, way before the rest of the world is even remotely awake.
What time do you wake up?
4:57 a.m.
Why?
Because I have to get to work, and I'd rather get to work on the subway before it's too crowded.
Got it. Yeah.
And come home earlier.
Well, I do an 8-hour day. I give them an extra hour at work, basically, so that way I can avoid the subway traffic. So I do sort of 9 hours a day at work, and then I come home I leave at 3, and then I get home by 4. So it's a good time to leave around 3 because it's not too bad, except during the school year when it first starts and when it's ending. The kids get a little rowdy on the subways then, but I avoid most of the high traffic situations on the subway, and then I get to get home and then spend the next 6 to 8 hours working on SideKick stuff. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Are you a morning person, Chris?
Not by choice, but I get a lot of natural light in my room. And I'm too, let's say, I'm not going to use the word lazy. I'm just very busy to put up any kind of blinds or anything. And I also in the morning, it's such a nice lighting that I'm kind of like, it's not terrible, but I usually wake up around 6:30, 7, and I try and go back to bed, but most of the time I can't. So
my husband
I'm usually awake
is not a morning person. He prefers that we don't open the blinds like until he's already been like, you know, until he's in the bathroom or whatever. I, on the other hand, would prefer that the blinds actually come up, you know, earlier, or better yet, that we just don't sleep with them at all, so that in the morning the sun is what wakes me up. Like light will wake me up before sound will. You know.
Yeah. My ex in Austin, who's I love very dearly, still a really good friend of mine, Bubba. He would wake up at like 6 o'clock and like make breakfast, and I would sleep till 11, and he'd have like gone to like the record store and bought some vinyl and like got some coffee and done all these things and had like a whole ass day, and I'm like waking up like, where's everyone, you know? But
you get so much done when you're up that early, though. It's just really, you get so much gets done before anyone else is awake, and then you're like, I feel so accomplished, and I can do more for the rest of the day still.
I just am like, I mean, I need to sleep because I want to have sex later.
Right.
And I need to be rested. I just need to be rested.
Sure.
Because I just do not like being that tired. Like I don't perform as well.
Right.
You know? And yeah.
Okay. So let's roll it back for a second, because Bubba was in the video, the summertime video.
Mm-hmm.
And I, you know, because I knew Kevin was in the video, and I saw Bubba earlier in the video. I've known Bubba since maybe before he moved to Austin, when he was first just like visiting Brian and Ryan.
Yeah.
Because at the time, Robert and I were really tight with Brian and Ryan when all that was going on, and so I had no idea until right now that you guys were exes.
Yeah, we were. I mean, we dated for, over 2 years.
Wow.
I met him. So he followed me on Instagram after I opened up for this rapper Chesky, who is his favorite rapper of like all time, I guess.
Oh, wow.
And Chesky owns the label that I'm currently on now.
Okay.
But Chesky put me in his story. His Instagram story was like, this dude can rap. And I was like, oh, that's sweet. But then this dude follows me, Bubba, and like likes some photos, and I check this guy out, and I was like, oh, who's this like hot skater boy? You know, and I'm like, wait, is he gay? And I was like, oh, so.
And then you're like, wait, is he in the Fat Guys?
yeah, exactly. And so I sent him a message and was like, yo, I'm playing like South by in a few weeks. Come to one of my shows. And so I went, played a show. He came to that show, and we ended up hanging out like every weekend for 2 years after that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's why I would see you occasionally pop up on Growler when you, and it would be like, I would be like, damn, is he working up here or something? Or?
I mean, I was working.
Anyway, so it's a very small world, and it gets smaller, which is ironic, I guess, when you throw in like the Chub Chaser Bear community.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody either knows everybody or has fucked everybody, or in Josh's case, has written about, and been in a story with where they fuck somebody that is, on camera. The thing that
I don't write about people's stories. I use them as inspiration to create a more dramatic one.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. I mean, it's so easy to write a story about Sebastian Jupiter, a song about Sebastian Jupiter.
I mean, Black Jupiter already knows me apparently too well, because while you two are talking.
Well, I think I actually mentioned Chris as an option before for A Taste of Youth. If you remember, I was like, oh, I wonder if I could get Chris Conde to do it, because when we needed the role that at the last minute, before we asked he who shall not be named, and then they bounced the night before or whatever, and before Will ended up in the role, I think Chris was in that discussion.
Let me know. I'm always down. Like I love performing. I love like art. I love creating. I love helping other people like realize their visions, and if there's any way that I can be supportive in that, like I'm always down. Anything creatively.
You did the right thing by wearing this purple mesh shirt tonight, because
I know, because I'm loving this outfit.
Josh is probably going to want to know where you got it.
No lie. I was literally thinking, how do I get Chris to just go shopping with me one day and buy clothes, because I want to do that. So,
I mean, that's something you can help him realize.
I'm down. I mean, like, I'm down. Let's go. Let's work it out. I'm off Mondays and Tuesdays usually, but I can figure it out. So I love to shop, and I know where to. I mean, like, honestly, okay, this is a secret for all you thick folk out there that want to wear something cute, something different. The older women's section of any vintage or Goodwill, you will find priceless pieces, like so much cool shit. Like, always check out like the older women's, like it's always like tucked in a corner somewhere. You will find fucking gold. Like, I'm sure this is, I don't know if this is from there. I found this on eBay,
sure.
You know, but like, yeah, like I found like crazy, like 1970s like gowns, like that were like probably in someone's like closet in like San Francisco for like 30 years that was forgotten, you know, like just crazy shit. There's always, yeah, but.
Well, I'm excited about the shopping trip. Like, you know, what I think, Josh, one of the things that having known you now, what is this, 5 years?
Something like that.
2018, right?
It feels timeless to me. I don't know.
I will say, I can tell a real difference in you when I'm around you, when you are wearing these bright, you know, shiny things that you love. It completely changes your demeanor 100%, unless you're on set and directing, and then you're still a bitch. But, you know, every other time it's like you're floating almost. It's really obvious that you love to dress in that way. And I love that about you.
I mean, it's. I mean, Chris was talking about it. It took a long, and I've talked about it on the show before in many places. It took a really long time to learn to like what I looked like. Even after finding the Bear Chub community, it still took a long time for me to sort of realize that people aren't wrong when they say that they like what I look like, and I also need to learn to like what I look like. But honestly, it took making the work that we make at SideKick to make me comfortable in my own skin, and that was way longer in my life and later in my life than I wanted it to be, but it's what it was. So.
And that's what Chris was talking about earlier, right? Like,
yeah,
you know, as artists, you know, we have the privilege that we get to actually channel that stuff into like real art, you know, and it is really cool that so many little pieces of your world end up in your stories, Josh, because that's what makes them so endearing to people. That's why when I'm at Western Exposure, you know, in the back playroom or something, having a lot of fun, I walk out and somebody's like, "Oh my God, I streamed all 5 seasons of Skeleton Crew, you know, the last 2 months." I was like, "Oh my God, you know, let me go back over here." It was like a really strange moment for me, but it was really, really cool. It's because they see themselves in your stories, you know, and you go probably maybe sometimes you might go too far in making sure that everybody is comfortable and stuff, you know. You're very considerate with your actors and very mindful of consent and things, and I think that's really cool. The way
it's hard. It's important though, because I mean, if you're doing a music video like we just saw Chris with you, Chris, where it's just basically you, the last one where you're in the harness and all that, that's just you. So you're comfortable with that, or Nakia with your Unbreakable stripped music video.
Yes,
but when you're working with actors, some of whom are straight, doing scenes which are gonna put them out there in ways which make that are different for them, because as a lot, again, for us it's weird, I think, but for straight actors who are fat, it's completely unthinkable at times because we make these opportunities for ourselves because we have a community like the Bear Chub community that sort of promotes the bodies that we have. There isn't really that at all, I think, in the straight community. And
right.
That's so for them to realize, wait a minute, you're casting me as a romantic lead, and people find me attractive, and then so that blows their mind right there. But then you also have to deal with the fact that some of our fans might reach out to them and be a little forward with them about things. I know that one of the actors who was on the show for many seasons, who was one of my love interests, he's had many fans talk to him about maybe show him things that so it's been, but so you have to treat people in a way that's going to be safe and all that. And also not everyone who it took me a long time to get the way I am. Now I'll do nudity on camera and everything. But I mean, there are still actors in Skeleton Crew and Demon Doctor and all our shows who are not comfortable doing that yet. Like they're not ready. They're not ready to go that far. And so you want to put them in places where they are going to feel safe and not exploited as well. It's important that, because this isn't about exploiting, it's about celebrating. So
yes,
and consent is very sexy. I was gonna say consent is very sexy, and like even when like it could be somebody that you think is in our community or like whatever, like you like ask somebody if it's okay, you can send them nudes. Like it may seem awkward, it may just like, oh, I should just rip the Band-Aid off and show them my dick. It's like, no, you know what I mean? Like just be like, hey, like I think you're cute. Are you cool with exchanging nudes? Are you cool with me sending nudes? Yeah. And like you're gonna earn more respect that way, and chances are you may get more than you expected, if you like go that route. When people are courteous, like this comes back to like, you know what I mean? Like we can when people are courteous and we treat other people with kindness, it's like that goes a long way and in ways that we may not even realize in the moment.
But at the same time too, if they say no, then that should be no. There's there's an actor that I met at the New Jersey Web Fest a couple of years ago. His name is also Joshua. He is a straight guy, but he's somebody that the community would find very attractive. He was on The Tick. He's most famous for that, I think. He played Frank on The Tick. He's a big guy and everything, and he constantly has to post on all his socials, "Don't send me your dicks." Because he's straight. He's not looking for that. And he's clearly not gay or bi or anywhere on anything, at least presenting as anything but straight, because he has a wife, he has a child, he presents this all the time. He's not ever. He's an ally. He very, very, very strongly supports the LGBTQ community, but it's so frustrating to see that he has to do that all the time for people. Where it's like, come on, people, just don't ruin it for everyone and make us have to be.
I think there's like obviously I think there's a problem. Like we're all just horny, right? We get it, but I think also like in like the Chaser and Chub community, like I do get there's like a vibe that I've been experiencing where it's like. And then not even in the community, but like even like the queer, like in gay community, it's like, because I'm fat, you think that you can kind of treat me however, or that my options are limited,
right?
Because I'm thick, and it's like, no, honey, I know that I'm cute, and it's not even like a coming from a place of ego. It's like I know who I am, I know the product that I'm selling.
Right.
And I'm a good business person. So you do not cheapen this experience.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah. And like because like on other platforms that I have where I'm a little bit more inviting to all kinds of invitations and comments, it's like there's people can get very aggressive in the DMs, and I'm like, all right, yeah, you can pay for this,
right?
Like, but this is not, like this isn't. Yeah, so I think you know what I'm trying to say, but I think like
I've been experiencing some of that too. That there is this level of entitlement about stuff, but there's also this level of like you're not going to get any better, than just, and I've seen that a lot of my friends that are bigger that have it's really hurt them sometimes, people can be really shitty. I want to take a real quick break and then we'll come back and start to wind down. But I did want to say to the folks at home, I want to remind you that if you are really digging these shirts that we're wearing tonight, that you should head over to sidekicksupermarket.com and get yourself a t-shirt. Because they're really rad, and we love them. And we are going to watch a quick trailer. This is, I think, the premiere of this trailer, because
yes, this is the premiere of this trailer.
Yeah, because we changed the song because Josh and I don't think we can either most likely, first of all, afford, and B, not sure that they would license. What was it called?
It was called
December.
No, Try to Remember from the Fantastics.
Try to Remember from what?
The Fantastics.
Right. So it was Josh Groban before, which honestly was really cool. But now we've got a different song that we don't have to worry about.
Maybe someday we'll play it just for on the Patreon, actually.
Maybe. Okay, so I'm gonna pull it up here, and this is the. How do I do this? Oh, there we go. And then we go like that. And then
voila.
If you got your mind made up, you're gonna leave, hoping you'll take your sweet time. Won't you take your sweet time? 'Cause I'm not quite ready.
You're muted, Nakia.
That was the Taste of Youth trailer. The first time we've shown that particular version of the trailer.
Yes.
Chris, Joshua.
What the fuck? What? I need to see that right now. I was like, yeah, for real.
That is the trailer for our first feature film that we've made. Possibly the world's first queer, fat positive, sex positive feature horror feature film. So,
well, if you need some more music for the sound chops.
Well, it's funny you say that because one of the things, because I handle pretty much all the music for pretty much all the SideKick stuff now. And one of the things that I told Josh pretty early on was that instead of me scoring the entire movie, which, would take a long time for sure, and it'd be a lot of work for sure, I'd be happy to do it. But instead of scoring the entire movie, score bits and pieces of it, and then actually use almost like a cool 90s soundtrack. There were so many great 90s movies that had soundtrack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but it would feature all queer, hopefully mostly fat and or fat positive, like ally people, in the soundtrack. And again, your name was, right up at the top of the list among people that we would love to actually have in the on the soundtrack. So I'll definitely be hitting you up for that.
Oh yeah.
It's funny because I can think of like at least two scenes where COMB can the last video we watched of yours where that song could work for sure. But, we'll definitely circle back to that. It is really cool, though, that we got to do that, Chris, and it really speaks to what Joshua is all about. Like he really, no matter how many times I was like, I don't know if we can pull this off, he's just like, no, we got this. We'll do this. And we did, and we're still doing it because we're in post-production, but that trailer is for us to be able to send it to festivals and stuff. And, but it's amazing to me how much Josh creates, on a weekly basis. 'Cause he's constantly writing stuff, even if it's not for SideKick stuff, it's, he does stuff for his work too. So, but mostly for SideKick stuff. And I'm curious, Chris, do you find that you are kind of always on creatively like that? Or do you like me kind of like go really hard and then I need to like take a break and not do that?
Yeah. I mean, I'm very that. I need a break. I'm trying to get more into a rhythm. I feel like I've been writing a lot less lately and been focusing on like the business side of like just being able to facilitate opportunities for me to perform. Like y'all know, I just came back from Europe. I was and like a bunch of countries, like did like 15 dates through like the Netherlands and Germany and Austria, and so like being able to like really focus on playing a lot of shows, but I'm like, I need to finish this record that I've been working on for a minute. And I actually just met with a friend who we're going to be like we're doing like a co-mentorship where we're like keeping each other accountable on things that we want to like work on. He needs more help, I think, with like the business side of it, and I need more accountability with like, okay, like for instance, for me, like I need to be able to write a certain amount each week and set aside time and schedule it, and
Sure.
it's just like, that's kind of just like where I'm at, and like be less focused on like the grind, because I've been grinding, I'm doing it, but I'm like, to be honest, I'm like, I feel like I've created, since I like got signed to this little label and like started promoting and like really taking my career to the next level. It's like I've stepped back, I think, like creatively, like as like an artist, and like I don't like that. And it's just like I'm recognizing that in myself, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing this for? Like, like I can't just, I can't promote this record that I wrote 3 years ago and put out 2 years ago, like forever. Like I have to create more work. And like when I sit down to write, I'm like, like I'm writing about that. I'm writing about not writing. Which I'm like, this is like, my fucking spirit knows the fucking tea and is like reading me as I'm writing these lyrics, So it's, and that's kind of where I'm at. But I'm doing a lot of collaborations with people, which is also helping me get in the rhythm of like creating more. But yeah, like I definitely do it a lot less, but I'm like working on getting back into a rhythm of like just, producing content.
Well, you do a great job of it over on Instagram. I have not followed you on TikTok yet, but I need to. Before we bring in Dhafir and introduce the two of you, and then segue you on your way out, I did want to show people a clip from. I'm pretty sure this is from your tour. This is New Haven.
Oh no! This is not Europe, but this is New Haven.
Really, really good.
Thank you.
And I love this picture, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah,
the leather, leather and kink has been a healing journey for me, and I love being able to be a part of the community and represent it.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, that's that's really been exciting for me to see, having seen you, kind of in Texas and what you were doing in Texas, and watching this version of what's going on in your world creatively, but also knowing that you are really, like, I saw a post where you were talking about the leather community and really kind of like what it's meant to you in this whole process. And I think, and I may be wrong, but I think in the same way that I was so thrilled that Mrs. Kasha Davis is on this season of All Stars, in the same way that I think young people need to see a lot more older drag queens, I think that young people really need to learn about their history, especially queer people, about the history of how, the leather scene is so misunderstood, and how much, like, there's so many really tight, like, familial, like, units of people that are involved in that,
Yeah, the leather community and the drag queen community. Like, one of my mentors, Will, he goes by Will Leatherman, a very like big like person in the Austin community. You've seen him around,
I'm sure I have, yeah.
And he's one of my mentors, and he was telling me, like, in one of our conversations, that drag queens and leather folk are the most visible queer people from the community, from the LGBTQI2S plus community. And so it's like, there is a history with that, and like there's a lot of misunderstandings around it. But when the more that we are visible, the more that we are able to educate and like be who we are as we continue to educate, the more that like the stigma becomes like destigmatized, and the more people learn about who we are, and that it is about radical acceptance, radical love, and radical embracing of like all different kinds of people, and realizing that drag is a healing art and a healing process, and leather is a healing art and healing process.
Big time. Well, we want to get our next guest in here and start that conversation. I'm going to let Josh intro our next guest, and then we'll talk for a second, all of us together, and then we will bid Chris Conde adieu for until another time. But Josh, take it away.
Yes. Well, before we do that, just very quickly, I do think that that's so important, Nikki, what you just said, because I do think, and you see it so much on TikTok, especially, there's so many younger queer people who are almost ashamed of the more visible members of the community, and it's sort of it's very reminiscent of the 80s, when people were trying to be accepted by the mainstream, and therefore they were and they wanted to get rid of the people,
the weirdos, leather,
freaks and everything. And I it's sad to see that it's happening again now, because it's almost like being queer has been so normalized that it's like we want to be normal, and it's like, but no, we're not normal, whatever that word means, even. We're not mainstream. We should celebrate what makes us special and unique, and that's the
evolution, y'all. That's the thing I just keep coming back to. Binda Lacreme, and a lot of their interviews recently, has been talking about, we're witnessing evolution in action. Like, these people are the old dead cells. They're freaking out and they're scared, and we're all the new cells going, hey, this is how cool it can be. This is much better. Like, it's time. We have to take the next step. We have to stop worrying about where people go to the bathroom and shit.
But speaking of time, it's time to bring in our next guest.
Great.
So, as I said, this is the editor of two books that recently, one came out a couple of years ago, I think, and then the other came out this year. And I was fortunate enough to be part of Theater Well Fat, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But coming to us, I think from Connecticut, if I'm not mistaken, and yes,
maybe they were at the New Haven show.
Maybe they were at the New Haven show. I don't know. Is Defear Jackson? Please bring Defear in.
Here we go.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you? I love your mic setup.
I was trying. This is my first time with all this stuff. You basically took the one of the last V cards I have because I've never been on a podcast interview. So yeah.
That's the goal is to just take everyone's V card in all the possible ways we can on this show. So I mean,
subtly, I'm a slut.
We'll find something that we can take of yours, Chris. Don't worry. Give us time. There's a lot of kids out there to explore.
Yes.
But Dhafir, thank you so much. This is we've talked for multiple times now, but this is Nakia, who I think we've talked about from time to time.
I am really this hot in person, so that's okay.
And modest. He's extremely modest. And
I'm physically hot because I'm wearing the sweater.
So. It is warm in the East Coast right now, so which is why I'm wearing a tank top and Chris is wearing a mesh shirt, so we can breathe some. So thank you so much for being here tonight. We're so excited to have you join us and talk a little bit about what you do and what you've done to the queer and fat community recently. So,
well, thank you for actually inviting me. It was, I don't know, it's just. I'm a little nervous, but it's like it's exciting. It's exciting, not bad nerves. It's exciting.
It's okay. Just breathe.
Nakia bites, but only when you ask him to.
No, just eat breath. It'll hurt for just a minute. But
not go there.
Dhafir, how did you and Joshua connect?
I reached out to him on. I believe I reached out to you on Instagram or.
Yep.
Via email first. I don't know which one, but
Instagram, yeah.
Instagram, yes. So I reached out to him first because I was going through it was More Than Tracy Turnblad, the podcast, because I recently was binging on that and I heard interviews, and so I connected with reach out to certain interviewers I felt would be interested in the project.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, More Than Tracy Turnblad is a podcast and also an Instagram and Twitter account and TikTok account where the host talks about mostly negative portrayals of fat people in Hollywood and mainstream cinema and television. So and a lot of her guests that she brings on are people who are generally fat and how and talks about their experiences being in the industry and everything as well. So. Which is where you found me and a bunch of other people. So,
yeah. Now, are you a hip hop fan, Dhafir?
I like music. I don't have a
like music.
I guess I'm pan with my taste when it comes to music.
Sure.
But yeah. I like hip hop and pop. But I did see that clip that you pulled out because I was in the waiting room. And I did see that going on Instagram, and I didn't know it was you. But I was just like, oh, okay, because it was like, oh, who is it? Is it Big Dipper?
Yeah.
So I was like, it was kind of like like thrown in the I guess the algorithm was like, here you go. So you looked at his picture once. Here you go. And so I saw you, and I was like, oh, okay, but I didn't know it was New Haven at all. I'm literally like so close. I'm close to New Haven, so that was funny.
That is funny. Now, Chris, do you do a lot of like reading on the road or anything? Like, are you like kind of a always got a new book to read kind of guy, or no?
I like podcasts, honestly, and so I have like severe dyslexia and ADHD. So like reading is like hard.
Sure.
It's fundamental, but it is also difficult for me. I'm currently reading through like Leather Folk. It's kind of like just a leather. It basically talks about the history of leather. But I'm trying to read more. So long story short, no, but I want to be.
Well, I'm with you on that though. Like I'm not dyslexic, but I am pretty sure I have ADHD. I'm actually getting ready to take a test to find out if I am. But I prefer to actually listen to books now instead of read them if they're available. And I've been on a kick where I've actually been like any book that I'm interested in, if it's read by the author, I'm even more interested in. I listen to a lot of like rock and music biographies and that sort of stuff. But earlier when you were talking about something, I wanted to circle back to, and I don't know if Dhafir, if you were in the audience at that point, but you were talking about, how like none of us are actively marketing, our like content or, to children, right? Like that's not what we do. And there's all this talk about grooming, blah, 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 blah. And how, what you were saying about how like, we were looking at porn when we were younger, right? And I had the most amazing experience reading this book called The Erotic Mind. And I forget who it's by. Let me see. By Jack Morin, by Dr. Jack Morin, Morin, who really goes out of his way to talk about how sex has become stigmatized. And the reason it's become stigmatized is because of the way that we're taught about sex as children or shamed about sex as children. And he really goes into detail about how, it's, to him, it was very strange that people wouldn't want to, teach the real stuff about sex and let, people like experience themselves in a natural way, because in reality, we're all really, like born in this way. Like we have to like figure out who we are, and if it can be done in a healthy way, who knows, what kind of great, people they'll grow up to be, because they're not so, constantly feeling shame or fear or whatever. And man, if you're interested in that kind of thing, for me, I really, a few years ago, like really wanted to start I was already a slut, but I really wanted to start like being more like mindful about my sluttiness and like really informed about the things that like turn me on, and, really started to look into this. And, I've been in therapy since I was 18. So 40 years now, almost. Is that right? No, 30 years. But I had basically asked my therapist for books that they would suggest, and they suggested this one. This blew my mind. So the guy's dead, actually. Unfortunately, he died back in the early aughts, but really great work. The Erotic Mind. It's where I learned about limerence. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, limerence.
Yeah, I want to check that out for sure. I love. Yeah. I mean, like, sex. I'm on a very sexual journey.
Yeah.
At the moment, so the more I can be informed about it, but yeah.
And I have friends that have kids that are really, really self-aware and really smart. They communicate their needs really easily. They don't seem to have trust issues with, adults and stuff. And so much of that, I think, is because they just, like talk to them about stuff, and they're open about their feelings, and they let them ask them questions about anything. And my one friend, they basically said, if our daughter sees us doing it or hears us talking about it, then we feel like we should be able to explain it. So if she sees daddy smoking a cigarette, then, explain what that is and why or whatever. And that kid grew up to be like so brilliant and so awesome. I just hope that more of that kind of parenting starts happening,
Totally.
Because we really need some young voters to come in and rock this shit. For sure. Okay, so tell us again the name of the book that is the most recent book before we say goodbye to Chris, so that Chris can take that in their mind on the way out.
The most recent book is Theater While Fat.
Theater While Fat. Okay, gotcha. And
it's just what it is. Tell us what it is.
Yeah, tell us. Give us.
I know what it is.
Tell us the elevator pitch.
So basically, I'll just read the back of it, since I have right here. Theater While Fat is a collection of interviews about the theater industry from fat actors. And basically, I gathered a collection of people who are fresh and just entering, from community theater to regional to professional, and just talk about their journey and their experiences with theater and the industry while being fat.
Awesome.
Now, I know everyone's going to want this book just because I'm in it and you're watching this and everything, but also who else is in this book?
Well, we have you. We have Daniel Francesi. We have well, I already said Abby from More Than Tracy Turnblad. We have if I'm not mistaken, Nick actually did a song with you guys, right?
Yep, Nick Maines is also in this book.
Oh, wow.
So for Crooniverse fans, you've got me and you've got Nick Maines. So peek into our little brains. And then also, I know many of you, because I hear about it all the time and I see it in the comments, you love Daniel Franzese. He's in this book too. So
what was Daniel's name on The Masked Singer? Or I mean on RuPaul on Celebrity Drag Race? Does anybody know?
It's not like Donatello or anything, right?
It is Donna something, I think.
It was Donna something. Yeah, you're right. They did a really good job, I thought. It was cute. What is this?
Donna Bellissima.
Yeah. There you go.
My Google was on point, so.
All right. Well, Chris, we've taken up a lot of your time this evening. We're so glad that you're here. You know, one of the things that we're doing with this new format is we're obviously live now on Twitch and Facebook and all these other places at the same time. But the actual podcast of this will come out later, probably about 6 weeks from now. We'll start, editing together the new SideKick Power Hour podcast. And there'll be an audio version and a video version. And when those come out, we'll definitely tag you as well. Awesome. Most of the people that are watching probably live right now are members of our Patreon. And we really want to take a moment to thank all of those people who are members of our Patreon. And there is no shortage of love for people who are doing that. Thank you so much. Let me turn this other banner off. You can head over to patreon.com/sidekick productions. Josh, I haven't really checked in about the numbers lately. I haven't really given it much thought, but I know my Patreon is kind of like at a stall right now. I'm not seeing a lot of growth, but I've also not been promoting it because I've been so busy hunting for a house. So that probably has something to do with it. But if you haven't joined our Patreon yet and become a member of the Crooniverse, please go over there, patreon.com/sidekick productions. Chris, where can people find you besides Instagram?
ChrisConde.com has all of my information, if you need some more background on me, there's a really long bio there. All of my links that you would need are on there. TikTok, Chris Conde 666. And if you want more information on other links that I have and other subscriptions, you can also just DM me on Instagram, and I'll be able to answer any of those questions.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here. We're going to please invite you back if you will come back and join us another time. We really enjoyed it.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure talking to you both, and you as well. I've been so looking forward to reading this book, honestly, and maybe I'll get my ADHD medication together, or if you come out with an audio version, even more. But yeah, it's really cool to be able to be in a space with other queer fat people talking about these issues. So I really appreciate being here.
Thanks so much for being here.
All right.
We're going to play a quick commercial. We'll be right back. Stand by.
Sound is speeding. Cameras are rolling. This is day one, take one of...
Why do you have two different cameras?
What?
Oh, God. This footage is going to look like shit. Got a crucial audition. And it is imperative that everything go flawlessly. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
What if we said no?
Shit. I'm fine.
Are you okay?
We have a fabulous guest for you today.
Yeah, you want to talk about Emmy? She's great.
So glad that Emmy's making a comeback. Although I suppose, did she really go anywhere? She's just been sort of bumbling around, hasn't she?
Do you know who I am?
You are a has-been from the 90s, Emmy Hart.
She is brilliant, strong, and she is so humble.
I'm the glue that holds Emmy together. So without me, she's just kind of like a fart in the wind.
Felix, you slept with my mom?
No.
Sex in my 60s is the best of my life.
What the are you doing?
you have chlamydia and gonorrhea.
Well, I already know that. What's the good news?
Emmy, you need these eye drops because of your drug problem. Look at how red your eyes are.
Oh my god.
I'm overcome with emotion too!
Wow, that's a nice bra.
I am so proud of you for exploring your sexuality one micro orgasm at a time.
Can you make me feel good? Please, can you just make me feel good? Please, please, please.
Oh my god! Ow!
Come back later, and we'll do the scene again. Out of my way.
Can't wait.
You don't have to wait. You can just go to theartofblowingit, theseries.com. Out of my way. I love that so much.
It's such a fun show. It really is.
Come back tomorrow and we'll try the scene again.
But I would love to hear more about what made you want to do theater while fat, Defear.
Absolutely.
I'm still trying not to. I was genuinely laughing during that. That looked so funny.
That's good. That's important. If you're laughing, that means we did something right. So
yeah, it's like one of those funny, like documentary kind of
it's
thing.
a mockumentary. Yep.
So okay.
Before we go any further, do me a favor, since we're taking your audio visual V card here, pull your microphone closer.
Okay, I didn't want to be loud, but it's better.
Oh, that's so much better. Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't know.
Because you speak softly and carry a big stick, I'm guessing. So this is getting closer is better.
Okay.
Well, you're gonna have to wait for that because I don't think Ashley's even written it yet. So
she's writing. I know she's writing.
Okay. Definitely be watching for sure.
Thanks, Good Boy Project.
Okay, so Dhafir, tell us how you decided that you wanted to do this book.
Well, it started with the first book that I created, which was Theater While Colored, and it was during I would say the height or early beginnings in the height of COVID-19 and during Black Lives Matter protests, and I was not able to risk going out and marching or protesting, and I felt a little useless because I didn't know what to do. And I've always had an obsession with self-publishing and wanting to publish my own book one day. So I just decided to combine the passion of that and the need to try to do something unique that I can give back to people in a way, and created a book which took some people that I knew, friends that I've had from doing like multiple projects with like theater productions with throughout the years, and put it all together interview style and put it out to the world on Amazon. And once I thought about Theater While Color, I was like, well, Theater While so-and-so, Theater While this, Theater that, and Theater While Fat was the one that stuck to me the most. And it took a while to want to do it. And then when I decided it had to be Theater While Fat, just because I felt more connected with that. And I felt a little bit more passionate with that one, because I feel like before people see like the color of my skin, they see that I'm a fat person first.
Sure. No, I totally agree with you. And I have not read the book yet, but I am excited to read it. I think it's interesting that we were actually talking earlier about the legislation that just passed in New York City that you can't discriminate based on height and weight. And when I searched for theater while fat in quotes and your first name, the very first article that popped up that got served to me was this one where it mentions your book in Playbill magazine.
Yes, that is the Broadway. I forgot. I always mix up. It's the Broadway Positive Project, right?
I think isn't it Broadway Bopo? Is that?
Yeah. That's the I believe the handle on Instagram. I was trying to think of the full one. I don't remember. But Stephanie, who
Broadway Body Positive Project.
Yes, Stephanie, who's also in the book. She mentioned it in the in the interview with another book that she was in that came out, I think maybe roughly around the same time or maybe a week ahead. But yeah.
Interesting. Well, when did you finish the book? Like, when were you like, you know what? Okay, I'm ready. I'm going to publish this.
I finished the book like it was honestly down to the wire, to like making sure everything was together from people and stuff. This was a very slow process. In comparison, at least it's technically not really a slow process for like publishing, I would say, but it was a slow process in comparison to my other one because I roughly wanted to do around the same time too because I started around the same time. So
Sure.
I got Theater While Colored out in 3 months time. And I wanted to do the same thing with that, but then it ended up being pushed like, okay, so next month we'll do, okay, well, because this schedule and this, I still need an interview from here, so we'll do this month, and then it was this month, and then it was like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. I want to do it, and I decided to try to get it done during my birthday month, which was February.
That's my birthday month. When's your birthday?
February 12th.
Mine's the 20th, so you're an Aquarius.
And you're a Pisces.
That's right.
Yes.
Yes.
And I just did a music video for Aquarius. So
That's right. It's the dawning of the age.
Full circle, everyone.
So, I think one of the cool things about all of this stuff that we're talking about tonight, is how we have empowered ourselves to do these both artistic and political and really vital, I think, pieces of art and pieces of work, content, whatever you want to call it these days, that really has, it means something to us. It means something to each of us. Talking to Chris, I was really struck by how, they really, they know that right now the imagery and things that they're putting out and the music that they're putting out, is all focused and it has, there's a purpose behind this stuff. And it's also kind of a healing thing for them as well. And I think, like my record that I'm working on right now, a lot of the songs, if not hopefully all of them, I guess, really are, have like real kind of personal, pieces to them. But overall, more than anything, it's this idea of kind of creating this album that I've had in my head for so long, like turning it into a real thing, like turning it into something that I can feel, something I can touch, something I can hear, something I can share. And I'm fascinated by the self-publishing thing because you're our third guest we've had on that has done self-published books. Is that right?
Yes, our third guest doing self-published books. Yep.
Yeah. I just think it's so cool. I think it's so fucking cool. I remember when Apple made iBooks, like made it possible that anybody could write a book and publish it on iBooks. And I thought, wow, that is really, really rad. But I never really thought about like, well, anybody that would like to could just write a book, and put it out, and if it does well on its own, great. And maybe you get picked up by somebody else, great. But if not, you've done it. You've said what you had to say, and maybe you'll say more later, but you were able to do all of that on your own. How does that feel when you're done with it and you get the first one back in your hands?
It feels cool. I'm not gonna lie, like especially when like I get like a proof copy, and I typically do the proof copy once I have everything, like the cover and the formatting that I do and everything like that all set, because I rather, well, money. I wanted to make sure I save money. So I want to make sure everything's all together. But just seeing it's really cool. To think that everything that you've been working on from like like pictures that you've been working on Procreate, or all the formatting that you've been doing in Microsoft Word, and it's just it's a physical thing. It makes it real, and it's oddly more thrilling to get it, like the proof copy, than it was to publish for me.
Oh wow!
It was oddly more. I do, yeah. It's like a weird thing with me that I feel like people can relate to that. It's just because it's not a book that I wrote. You know what I mean? Like I might have helped with help with editing and restructuring some sentences, asking for approval and stuff like that, of course, from the fellow actors. But it's not something I wrote, so it doesn't feel like it. So when I first published Theater While Colored, it didn't feel like my first book. And when I published Theater While Fat, it didn't feel like my second book because it's not my words necessarily. It's their words, it's their book, all the people who are involved in it. But yeah, it's kind of it really is a settling moment where it's like, okay, well, we have a proof copy. We literally just need to go over some lines and make sure the spelling is correct, make sure people's names are correct and ads and everything like that. But it's it's a book. So so that is
Now,
more exciting to me.
We've been talking tonight about how Chris talked about it and I talked about it, how it's making your own work can help you learn or grow in yourself and make you learn to love yourself in new ways. Like making Skeleton Crew helped me become more comfortable with who I am physically. Did you learn anything from not necessarily about not the process itself of making a book, but did you learn anything from the stories that people told, or just did you learn anything about yourself while making this book?
That you're not alone, and that you actually experience a lot of the same things. Doesn't matter if you think a person is more attractive than you, or more talented than you, or at a higher level than you. You've all experienced the same thing. That goes for both books. So it was like unfortunately refreshing, because it's sad that all these are happening, but it's just like there's a purpose that it sounds cheesy, but it was like a little purpose, and it might not have been for the masses or a big audience or anything like that, but it was that people need to talk about it. There needs to be different outlets for them to express their feelings, especially when people don't want to hear them. And maybe one day a person who's just looking up like theater, fat, books, interview, something, and they find it and it's like, oh, I like this, and read it. That'd be cool. Like that's a cool thought to have, and that's a cool thing to know.
Now, we didn't talk about this either, because it's something I was thinking about, but I never asked you. Did you notice any common themes between all the stories we all shared with you?
Yes, it clothing, costumes, and again, I can tie it back to the first book too. Costuming seems to be a big issue still.
Mm-hmm. It's so hard. It really is. I've now I don't mean to cut you off, but it really is something that I experience on every set that I go to that's not a Skeleton Crew or Demon Doctor or a SideKick set, because I've had casting directors, they'll ask you for your sizes, they'll bring you to set to do this TV show or this music video or something, and the costumer gives you the costume and they're like, it doesn't fit. Like, well, because you didn't get the sizes I gave you. They're like, we couldn't find the size you gave us, so this is the closest thing we got. And it's like, what do you mean this is the closest thing you got? If you don't want it to look right on me, then sure, this is perfect. And then half the time you have to supply your own wardrobe then, because you are not going to, like, when I did Poker Face, that was my own outfit there, because they didn't necessarily know what to put me in. And then, of course, they didn't need anything anyway, because I was wearing a smock because I was getting my hair cut. Right. So, I mean, it didn't matter what I could have been naked underneath and nobody would have known. So, but I'm so sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to just pipe in with that, because it is a massively common problem still today. Costume.
No, it's very true. And there are places that I've worked at. I haven't worked at a lot of like theaters, but I worked at enough, and also had my college education, being surrounded by theater, to know that there's there their stock of costumes plentiful. But yet in college and in certain theaters, I wear the same pants every single time.
Mm-hmm.
I wear that one that sits right like on my nipples, basically, just all the way here. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Even if it was a big for like a waist,
right?
Thing, doesn't make sense. And there's certain things where I have to be physical when I guess they don't expect you to be physical. Like I was in college my freshman year in production as Sweeney Todd, and it was during the asylum scene, I guess, when they're breaking out from Fogg's asylum, and I was on the top because I was singing one of the first man baritone solo, but I had no time to get down properly to go onto the stage, so I always had to jump down, squat, always a rip. Because of that, and of course I think that lends itself to, you know, it's a period piece, so they're not going to have like no elastic or anything like that. But it's just like the costume designer felt like kind of hated me, and I was like, I kind of got to do what I got to do, and I'm sorry about it. And there was another one where I was supposed to drop into splits on stage. I was like, in these pants, that's not possible. It's like a corduroy or burlap. I don't know. Like it's not going to give. So fortunately, I didn't have to do a split there because unfortunately, I hurt my knee when I was practicing doing a split. So, but it was just like if I had to, it was going to be the same situation. It was going to have to just rip if you weren't going to fix it or listen to me when I'm telling you this is what I'm supposed to do. So.
Now, Nakia, because if you mentioned musical theater, I happened upon your backstage account, and I saw a clip that you posted of you singing. You have a great voice. Really.
Oh wow!
You have a really lovely singing voice. So
you have dug up something that I have forgotten.
Yes, that's what I do. I'm a little mouse just digging through history. So.
Which one is it? Is it the? I only have like 2 or 3 out there.
What was it?
Spring Awakening or Into the Woods?
It was Spring Awakening. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That was my rehearsal. Yes.
It was great though. You sound great. And Kia's just brought it up right now. So.
Oh boy.
I don't want to embarrass you though. So.
It's okay. Look at that headshot.
Wow. Well, that's not the voice I was expecting. Wow, that's a real like a moment from The Voice. Like that's the whole premise of The Voice. When they sold it to us to be on the show, it was like, the idea is we want to try to get as many people who don't sound like they look. Like it's a visual audio, trick. It's a surprise. So. They actually edited out part of my thing on The Voice. One of Blake's responses was, "Oh, I thought I was turning around to see a big black guy." Like that's what he said about me, and I was like, "Oh no," but I get it. I mean, because I'm highly influenced by black singers for sure, but. They cut it out, and I thought, well, isn't that the point though? That you want them to think it's somebody different? Like, that's you were telling us that's what you wanted. Why wouldn't you put it in the thing? But it didn't make the final cut. How long has it been since you did some musical theater, Dhafir?
I think, oh my gosh, 2019.
And what was that?
It was Joseph, and then Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Oh, nice.
And who were you?
I was Issachar. Is that right? Wow.
So that's one of my favorite shows.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea that was one of your favorite shows.
When I say favorite shows, I should say that's one of the ones that I know. Like if I hear the songs, I know it's from Joseph. because my ex, Jan, who I was with before Robert, for like 5 years, he loved, or probably still loves, Joseph, and played it all the time. But the Donny Osmond version, please.
Okay, so that's the movie version, right?
No, I don't think so. Is it?
It was a movie version. Yeah, that's what everyone knows it from. That's why Donny Osmond.
Oh, they made a movie of the production with Donny Osmond.
Yeah.
I think it was like a London production, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the reason why anybody who knows that show thinks of Donny Osmond, because that's he videotaped it and everything. So,
right.
And there was such a lack of musical theater film that everyone knows the same shows. Basically, it's like everyone knows that one. Everyone knows the Into the Woods with the live cast, because everyone knows
the
that.
live Les Mis concert.
Live Les Mis concert from the 10th anniversary, I think it was.
Yeah.
The Sweeney Todd with Angela Lansbury. Everyone knows these. So
that's the 1980. Is that 1982 or 1981?
Angela Lansbury one.
Yeah, it's in 80s, right?
I think it's 70s actually, because it's the original production. So.
Oh, I always thought it was like 81 or 82 or something.
Well, I know Sweeney Todd was a 70s show. Which
really?
is why it's on Chicago. No, Schmicago. I'm sorry, that's what it's called. The season 2 of Schmigadoon. If you
it debuted in 1979 on Broadway.
Yes.
Yeah, March 1st in 1979, and then it went on tour in 80, and then it debuted in West End in 80.
Sweeney Todd is my favorite show, which Nakia knows, but
my friends, I almost sang that at the recital this weekend.
That would have been interesting to hear. Yeah. That's what you forgot to tell everyone. You did a recital this weekend.
That's what I forgot. Well, since I brought it up, I guess I should pull up a little clip from it. While I'm doing that, why don't you ask Dhafir another question?
What is your favorite musical? We never asked that. I've never talked. We talk about horror a lot. We don't. What is your favorite musical though?
It's so hard. It's honestly like it's not even like a cop out. It's so hard to pick because there's so many connection with it. But I think the one that I was obsessed with and that I got into because of high school was Sideshow.
Really?
Oh, I love Tunnel of Love. I love hearing the harmonies of Alice Ripley and Emily Skinner all the time. I just eat up, and also the fact that I like when things get like, if it's like a biography or based on a true story kind of inspired thing. I like seeing how they adapt things, especially in something like a musical. And I was like so upset, and also because it ties into horror because of Ted Browning's Freaks.
Yeah,
because I watched that before, and I was like, wait, that's Daisy Alive. So I was like, the weird kid was like, oh, okay. But yeah, I was just like, oh my god.
I think Sideshow was a 90s show, right?
It came out in the 90s originally, yeah.
Yeah, because I was in college when it came out, and it was all the rage at the time. And again, Jan was totally into Sideshow as well. But I was able to find this clip, so let me pull it up real quick. And I'm not going to play the opening where I gush about Josh.
Before 2020,
oh well,
I had the privilege of getting involved. Anyway, that's a whole different story.
I love how Nakia is just very casual outfitted with the title. So
let's go to the second part. So that was my voice coach's like recital, like hangout party thing on Saturday. And they were like, bring 2 songs to sing, bring the sheet music. And I was like, oh, I don't really have any Broadway sheet music except for my friends, because I did it for Betty Buckley's class in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And
he took 2 classes with Betty Buckley. So yeah,
what was the other song that I took? River in the Rain.
River in the Rain, yeah.
Let's play a little of River in the Rain. By the way, I should say, Adam had never played either of these songs, and the song Midas that Josh and I wrote, was the transcription was not probably too great either. So this is from Big River. What I was saying right there was it's usually a duet. And I almost cried 2 or 3 times during this because it's been so long since I sang it. And it makes me so happy. Sometimes at night you look like a long line train. I'm literally holding back tears. Way away somewhere. It's also just a River, I love you, don't you care? If you're on the run, winding someplace just trying to find the sun. What do I do with my hands? Sunshine, rain. River, I love you just the same. But sometimes in a time of trouble, when you're out of hand and your muddy bubbles roll across my floor. Hey, can't away the things I treasure, and there ain't no way to measure why I love you more. I'm crying right there too. River in the rain. Right. Yeah, do both parts. That part is in the show, the high part. River, I love you, don't you care? Sometimes in a time of trouble, when you're out of hand and your muddy bubbles roll across. See, I'm not doing the melody now. I'm trying to figure out what the harmony sounds like. Shout out to my dad beard in this video. I just trimmed it today. I'm kind of missing it. I'm giving like total James Gunn vibes.
That's
with that beard.
That's right. You're basically just the next James Gunn.
I do love singing that song though. Is there a song, Dhafir, that when you sing it, it takes everything you can do to just like, because it makes you feel so deeply?
Yes, and I always forget the title of it, but I can tell you it's from Camp, and the character of Tiffany sings it at the end when she gets her braces taken off or whatever was wiring her jaw. Have you ever seen the movie Camp with Anna Kendrick?
I don't know if I've seen it.
Oh my god,
it's a movie
so
about
good.
Yeah, it's a movie about musical theater camp.
I think it was at like French, was it Stage Door or French, one of those like well-known musical theater summer camps, and it was Anna Kendrick's film debut. I think it was also Robin DeJesus's film debut. Sasha Allen was in it, who was in Hair, the revival of Hair, and also on one. She was on a singing show as well, I think.
Sasha who?
I think her name's Sasha Allen.
Okay, I don't know her.
It has one of Meryl Streep's daughters in it. It's the one who was in American Horror Story and Smash.
She Meryl Streep has a daughter that was in American Horror Story?
Season 4. Freak Show. She was the one who's
That's one of my favorite seasons.
She was the nurse. She was the candy striper who got tattooed and all that stuff.
Wow, that's
wow, I didn't know she was Meryl Streep's daughter.
Yeah, and she's the same one in Smash. And Jennifer's Wedding, I think with
Is that the sequel to Jennifer's Body?
No,
different movie, very very different.
Yeah, I think it has Alexis Bledel and Katherine Heigl in it.
It sounds like a great movie. I want to see it.
It's I forgot who else is in it. I can't remember, but I think I saw it on Netflix, but that was like years ago.
And what's the song called?
My gosh, I think it's like Here's Where I Stand, but I don't know for sure if that's it. Because she says that a lot in the main chorus, so I believe it's Here's Where I Stand.
I think it's Here's Where I Stand. Yeah.
Yeah, let's take a listen. Shall we? Will you put me in, Josh?
Any day.
Oh, come on, Jenna. Fritzy's got multiple fractures and Jill's face looks like 40 miles of bad road. Come on, you've got to do it.
It looks like a stage production. I love it.
Backstage.
It's about time they met their daughter.
Great audio. I could hear him in that crate the whole time. It was really, really well done. I love the song already.
Here in the dark, I stand before you. No, this is my chance to show you my heart. This is the start. This is the start. I have so much to say, and I'm hoping that your arms are open. Don't turn away, I want you near me, but you have to hear me. Here's where I stand, here's who I am. Love me, but don't tell me who I have to be. Here's who I am, I'm what you see. You said I had to change and I was trying, but my heart was lying. I'm not a child any longer, I am stronger.
Good Lord. She has incredible control.
So good.
Please don't tell me how. I'm on my way. I'm moving now. In this life we've come so far, but we're only who we are. Courage of love, show us the way. We got the power to stand up and
Wow.
stand up and be counting on you. If you're with me, we'll make it through. Here's where I stand, here's who I am. Love me, love me, love me, and we'll make it through. Here's where I stand, baby, 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 I'm counting on you. Here's where I stand. Love me, love me, love me, and we'll make it through. I'm counting Oh, I'm counting. I'm counting. I'm counting love.
Wow. So good. Thank you for turning me on to this.
It's a really good. It's such a good movie to me, and it was so weird because I discovered that like roughly when I think it came out in 2006 maybe,
Yeah.
and then so it slowly went to like TV like kind of right after. So I kind of discovered it then. So I was still like preteen.
2003.
Oh, thank you. 2003. So yeah, I was definitely preteen.
Because it came out when I was in college. So.
Well, I am so grateful that you turned me on to this. But I'll tell you what, I the whole time I was experiencing two things. One, I was enamored with Nikki Taylor. She's clearly like next level. You said she went on to do what?
No, that's Sasha Allen, who's also in there. I don't know. I actually don't know much about her.
Okay.
Where she's gone after that.
Wow, she's incredible. But so the whole time I was thinking, God damn, she's incredible. But then the other thing was I was thinking, wait a minute. Dhafir says this is the song that makes him the most emotional when he sings it. So now my challenge to you for the next time when you come on again is to record yourself doing a karaoke version of this song so we can hear it.
Ooh, that's gonna be impossible.
Nothing's impossible.
That's like that song that like if you it's like one of those things where it's like you're in the shower and you just want to sing kind of moments and you just randomly start singing you start randomly singing like random parts from it kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is I sound just like this in the shower. So that's
same. So that's why I sing it in the
I
shower.
believe you do. I don't. So.
But what I just was thinking about when we're listening again, I forgot. Well, I didn't forget, but I kind of like forgot that her whole like that was the first and only time technically she sung in the credits in the finale, but that was the first time her character sings in the whole movie, and that's towards the end. And it's because her parents, specifically I think her dad, got her like her storylines that got her jaw wired shut so she can only drink smoothie and stuff so she can stop being fat, basically. That was her whole thing. So basically her getting that off and then confronting her parents in the audience, especially her dad, was saying that you got to accept me as I am. Accept me that I'm fat and I'm fine. I'm fat. Like, so I didn't even think about that that connection there. But yeah, that was her storyline for her character.
She's only done this movie. That's it.
I think she was one of those people who went to the camp and auditioned and got in kind of thing. Yeah, because I haven't really heard much of her at all.
Wow, interesting. What was the last production you were in?
The last production was Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat.
That was it. Okay, gotcha. I think so. Oh wait, I asked you that earlier. So, when you did that, then that was in 2019, right? Yeah. So, did the pandemic basically kind of help keep you from performing? Like, are you trying to perform more? You're just not getting roles. What are you doing with that?
It was during that time where I was really trying to I guess find a home in theater. I still don't feel I think that's coming like less and less as the years has like separated me from performing, but I always felt like I'm not really good enough for professional. I don't look right. I'm fat, but I'm not the the type of fat that you want kind of thing, or like what I mean, like like I'm not tall enough. I don't have a beard. I'm not like a bear-ish person. There's so many things. There's like you're fat, but you're not this type of fat. You're not TV fat. You're not this. So it was just I was trying to find my love for theater while still maybe making some income from it, while trying to find my other passions while also having another job. Just basically trying to find the balance of enjoying life, because I wasn't. um, and yeah, from there though, I was already transitioning kind of like out of not really doing theater because I already got a job as a ticket agent at the same theater before the pandemic took that away.
Right.
But yeah, I was comfortable there. It was also a dream of mine to work at this certain theater since I was 15.
Mm.
I wanted to work. I literally said I wanted to work, like behind the scenes, and I also wanted to work and get paid for a children's theater show, and I did both. So I looked at that opportunity, and then when it was no longer there, I was like, well, I did what I wanted to do. I
Oh
did it
wow.
for 2 years
Yeah.
consistently. So I'm happy with it. I don't uh it's still a place I would go to if I want to see a show and stuff like that, but I'm fine, not going back and trying to pursue working there because I did what I wanted to do. Since I was 15, I fulfilled my dream.
Aw.
Technically, it was technically like a dream. I fulfilled it. Um
I love
so
that, Fear. That's great.
so I was focusing more on like I wanted to right. And this is funny to me because I have a lot of things with me, but one of the things that has been plaguing me the most is the fact that I am ADHD or have ADHD. So the things I want to do always seems like I'm just like trying to torture myself because this feels like impossible to do. Like sitting down and writing a book or sitting down this. I always wanted to write. Um, I always used to write stories all the time just for fun. Um, and I wanted to shift into that more while this break from theater happened. And I wanted to focus, oddly enough, not on the nonfiction work. That was that was more of a like spur of the moment surprise. Okay, I'm doing it, type of thing, which I feel like is also like a benefit from my ADHD because when you get hyper focused, you're like, I got to get it done, and then you got it done. But I want to transition into writing more plays. I attempted that once in college and I really enjoyed it. I wanted to write more queer fiction with the protagonist always being fat. Um, and it doesn't have to be like because they are fat. This is why the story's happening. It's just no, this protagonist fat. It's a fat character. He's also,
Mm.
they're also queer. So
And
I wanted to.
there's a lot of people who do that. Are
Mhm.
starting to do that. Alex, who's might be in the chat still. I don't know if he's still here, but Alex is a great comic book creator who creates fat cyberpunk. I think Afrofuturism is the genre that he works in and everything, and it's just some really great stuff that he does. And then of course everything we do is fat focused and everything. So I think it's great that you want to create stories about where the characters just are fat and because they're
Yeah.
fat. That's
Yeah, it
fantastic.
doesn't have to be the reason. It could be the reason if you want. Like, I don't think it's a bad thing if it's like the focus is because they're fat or something like that. It can work. I just feel like I want to tell stories, and I was like, no, but I was like, but I don't need to be like, it has to be this type of person. I was like, I just want to make them fat because, most of the time, if I'm thinking about it or I'm relating to it, I'm thinking about maybe me, in some form. In some form, when you're writing, it is you. No matter like what it may be, it's still a part of you somewhere. So I was just like, well, I'll just make this person, fat and either like like multiracial or biracial, anything that that is me, I put in there. So I wanted to shift gears, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm finally just taking the initiative to like not hold myself back
Mhm.
mostly, but let it be excused like, well, I was doing this, but I was like, no, I need to focus and do it because I'm gonna regret if I don't try. So that's what I'm doing, trying to shift my focus to now. So performing is not, and acting is not really like the priority, but if I see something, I was talking to Joshua about this before, is that I want to look at parts that like if it's like a horror thriller, I want to be in one so bad. I just want that experience. And I was saying, so if I look for projects, it would be for a horror thriller feature film.
Well, I don't know if you noticed or not, but Joshua said what he said earlier about you being in a musical, because he knows how I'm constantly saying that we need more people in our shows that can sing in case we want to do more musical episodes or a musical on its own, etc. Color me surprised if I'm wrong about this, but I am pretty sure that Josh would love to audition you for a role in something that we are doing.
That'd be fun.
You're not wrong. That's why Nakia knows me too well. I'm always on the hunt for new faces for our Crewniverse. So
yeah, he's like an old school pimp that way, I guess. Just always out in the corner trying to find somebody to hoe out.
That's me, big pimpin'.
Ooh, okay.
Because we talked about this earlier with Chris. For anyone who hasn't learned yet from watching the show, I really can't turn it off. I'm constantly working. Like I don't know how not to be like, if we go somewhere for a weekend or something, I am still on. I'm like, how does this work? How can I apply this to something? Or, oh, this story could be connected to something. It's exhausting to everyone around me. I fully admit that I'm exhausting to people, but I'm also very fortunate that they put up with me. So
yeah,
I remember we were talking earlier in the week about the project you were talking about. And I was like, I've been thinking about, like, I haven't seen that kind of thing since what did I say? Haunting of
Hill House, I think you said.
Yes, I haven't seen that kind of thing in a movie before, and I was like, I've always wanted to do it, and I always wanted to see it, and I've always been thinking about, like, oh, what if it? So yeah, I'm excited to see that. And also, I wanted to say not recently, because but recently I caught back on, but I'm definitely a demon doctor type of person. Like the show, like I like it. It was the intro gave me like the feeling of Buffy / Charmed, like OG Charmed opening. So I was like, okay, I'm in. The detective felt like
that was exactly what I wanted to do with that. Yeah, it was intentional. It was very, very homage to Buffy.
Yeah, where I was like, because I was thinking, I was like, no, she's not in trouble. She's the one who's causing trouble. So I was like, from the first episode of the opening, so I was like, okay. I was like, so I'm in, and then of course, storyteller. I was like, oh, that he gives me Detective Trudeau from Charmed vibes, because he believes in the demon and paranormal stuff while his partner does not, and no one else does.
Yeah.
So that's true. I was like, wait, is he talking about somebody we know? That was like, oh, it's Mark Eugene.
Storyteller MG on Instagram, everyone. So.
That's right.
So yeah, I was very like, kind of like, okay, I'm in it.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. We need more fans for Demon Doctor.
So. Absolutely. Can never have enough Demon Doctor fans. Folks, you can watch all of Demon Doctor at demondoctor.com. And yes, I am sad to report that I'm still behind. I know I posted on Discord like 2 weeks ago, like some. Josh has left the room. He's been very, very patient, and the fans have been very, very patient. But this week, Robertson Cupertino. So all week this week is Demon Doctor time. So I will be streaming some of that.
You heard it here first, folks.
Over at Nakia TV, twitch.tv/Nakia TV. Too many TVs. But anyway, Dhafir, it's been so lovely having you on the show. I, again, would be shocked if I was wrong, but I sure would love to have you back. I think Josh would agree.
Absolutely. I'd love to talk more about your other work that you're also when you publish your next book, because you need to go out now and finish those fiction books that you're working on. So
yes, I do.
Yeah. Anything that you're up to, we'd love to hear about it. So definitely keep us in the loop. And for folks at home, you can follow Defear on Instagram it's at definitely Defear, and that is DHAFIR. very, very lovely having you on. And what a surprise that you're also a very talented singer and performer as well. So looking forward to getting you in for an audition for something. I'm just already thinking of how we could use him in Cricket Cabaret. So, all right. Well, thank you again for being here, and I hope you'll come back.
I definitely will. This was very fun.
Wonderful. I'm glad that we were painless with removing this card of yours, this V card.
Right.
So,
thank you again for being here. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. What a lovely person. Like, wow. So nice to have just a fresh face, number one. So we got 2 fresh faces introduced to the Crewniverse tonight. But someone who is out there doing, the same kind of stuff that we're all doing in this same sphere of, trying to tell these stories that are so important because they matter to us, because it is us. It is our friends. It is our family. And we want to talk about those things. So,
and this is also a good example of why you should check your requested DMs in Instagram.
Yes.
Because if you're not following someone, you don't always get the DM from them. Now, most of the time, those are all just creepy porn bots. But sometimes they're going to be really awesome people that you meet that you want to do stuff with and talk to them and work with them. And what happened here?
Excuse me. Oh my goodness, that came out of nowhere.
It's all right. I'm exhausting. I told you already. I know that. So
we're gonna take a real quick a commercial break, and then we will be right back.
You can call yourself a chubby chaser, even if you're not a twink. You wanna hurt me? Well, I say yay. Sex is the best sex, that's what they say. I'll say it once, I'll say it twice, so listen to my advice. Come here, just a little bit closer. I'm a laugh machine, I'll leave you tickled pink. Let's clown around if that's your kink. We can clown around if that's your kink. Yes, you can say that I've got daddy issues.
Thank you, John Sanchez. Man, John Sanchez, guitar player in Austin, has changed my life. He's been so fucking great on all these projects I've been doing. This is one of them I'm super, super duper proud of. It's my very first musical that I had the absolute joy and privilege of co-writing with this guy, Joshua R. Pangborn, who is the co-host here at SideKick Power Hour, or as we're calling this right now, SideKick Power Hour Live. What do y'all think? Should we call it SideKick Power Hour Live? Because again, the SideKick Power Hour is going to become a podcast. It's going to come out. So should this be SideKick Power Hour Live, or should this be SideKick Power Hours
Live? I'm just gonna go there and do that. You don't have to vote in the comments, everyone. I am the CEO of SideKick Productions. I'm not going to be democratic about this one.
Is it a grammar thing?
I just don't. Yeah, I just don't think it sounds great.
Okay, well, if you have another suggestion for us, let us know in the comments. I think Power Hours is kind of cute, but I do think that SideKick Power Hour Live is also obviously very appropriate. The other thing that we've talked about doing, which we haven't done yet, but have seriously been considering and might consider testing this season of Power Hour, is taking this live portion that we're doing here and putting it up just on Patreon or just on something else that you're subscribed to, so that it, it's, this part is for all of us, the people in the Crewniverse who are really, out here supporting it, and you get the kind of unfiltered version of the show, basically, because the edited version of the show not only will be much shorter, but it won't have some of the things that we're, going to be doing, like stew snacks and, some of these other new short form content things that we've talked about doing for Power Hour. Matt and I end up on that, because there still needs to be some value for our Patreon members over at the Crewniverse, we put out these videos that Josh painstakingly edits every week to put up, behind the scenes stuff, bloopers and all this sort of stuff. But at some point we'll start to have to create new stuff just to put that in there, So, there's always going to be behind the scenes footage and additional scenes. There's going to be probably a 2-hour or 3-hour box set of four Blu-ray DVDs, 4 Blu-ray DVD 8-hour box set cut of A Taste of Youth that will come out.
We don't have an 8-hour cut, everyone. We just have. It was 2 hours and 24 minutes was the longest time it was running.
2 hours and 24 minutes was the longest? Was that the first one?
That was the second one.
Well, how could the second one be longer than the first one?
Because I added more scenes.
How funny.
Well, because after we did some reshoots in the fall last year, I had some new scenes to add to it. So
right, that's true.
Because remember, we actually wrote, I wrote I wrote 4 new scenes, I think, that we ended up filming because we wanted to flesh out the story in places a little bit more.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, for folks at home.
The Taste of Youth, by the way, this weekend was another thing that came up that was really exciting for our the ancestor to A Taste of Youth, Wasted on the Young. For those of you who haven't been following us on the on Facebook and everything, we have. How dare you? Yes, first of all, there we go. But second of all, it was we were very fortunate to be selected as one of the very first films to be shown at the Fresh Fruit Festival in New York City. For those of you who don't know, the Fresh Fruit Festival is a queer theater festival that has been going on for many, many years now, and it focuses on queer theater, usually queer writers, queer stories, but queer theater in general. But this year they decided to have a session devoted to queer cinema. So we were selected as part of the initial Fresh Fruit Festival for Wasted on the Young.
Yes.
And as you all know, Wasted on the Young is our little baby, 8-minute baby that spawned our fluctuating length feature film of A Taste of Youth, possibly fluctuating title name as well. So we were nominated for a couple awards actually at this festival. We were nominated for Best Actor, Mark Eugene Garcia. We were nominated for Best Supporting Actor, Joshua R. Pangborn. We were nominated for Best Actress, Ashley Monique Menard. We were nominated for Best Director, Joshua R. Pangborn. And we were nominated for Audience Favorite. And I am very excited to say that we walked away with an award this weekend. We walked away with what I think is very promising for us because of what this could mean for our future festivals. We walked away with the Audience Favorite Award.
Wow. For Wasted on the Young?
Yeah, we were the audience favorite at the Fresh Fruit Festival.
That's so cool.
So that is
Fruits on Film.
They like us. They really like us. So Fruits on Film. I'm really, really excited by that because that means that people liked the story, people liked what we did, and that's what we did. That's what they liked in an 8-minute cut of the film. Imagine what they're going to like when they see that beautiful trailer come to life in a feature film.
Big time. I think that's very, very cool.
Big Boy Project is touching SideKick Power Hour on air.
Ooh, interesting.
We'll have to have the Big Boy Project on sometime too. They do a lot with journalism and in the fat and Big Boy arts and everything. So, and they've kindly featured me on it as well. So I was very excited by that.
They've been very nice to me on Twitter. Which shout out to me because
and modest.
Let's take a look. Let's see. Yeah, it's almost done, but as of yesterday, really probably more like as of Saturday night, if you go to my Twitter account, you will see one tweet. There is no longer any of my old tweets, and the almost all of my likes are gone now. Thanks to a little app that you can pay that uses the Twitter API, which I was shocked they still had access to go through and do a bunch of stuff to your account. So, I feel like it's such a chaotic kind of. It feels like I'm in a test kitchen and they're just throwing shit in the bowl to see if it will cook. But on top of that, I really, really don't trust the current owner, and I think that they are they're not displaying the most positive attributes about humanity for sure. And it's kind of a fuck pod. So I don't want to deal with that anymore. And so I'm gonna stay on there. I'm not deleting my account, but I'm just gonna be very, very, very picky about when and what I post there. And mostly focus on Instagram and TikTok once I get verified on TikTok. So that's the next goal, is to tackle that. So. But even then, it's, it is a lot. What Chris was saying earlier about, it's create, but don't forget to share, all the time. And it can be really, really soul sucking, I think.
I think it can be soul sucking when other people don't respond to it or don't share it. And we've talked about this. I think there are people in the community, and by the community I mean the horror community, or even or the chub artist community. I think there's a sense with some people that there's only so much spotlight, and they can't share it, so they don't want to promote, they don't want to celebrate other people, they don't want to do anything that would recognize someone who's doing the same thing that they're doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm really excited by, especially season 3. I mean, we've tried to do this for the whole time with SideKick Power Hour, but for season 3, we're really going to we're trying to bring even more people from the community in, because I really think it's important to celebrate the people who are doing what we're doing, because we're not doing it alone in a vacuum. And not everyone's doing things the way we're doing it. And not everyone's doing it. We're not doing it the way that they're doing it. So,
right.
I think it's really important. And I think that it's unfortunate that some people just won't support you for whatever reason, because they're scared, or because they don't want the spotlight to come off of them for a second, because if they're worried it will never come back. But people like Alex in Philly, the Big Boy Project on Twitter, I think that people like that are doing a great job of trying to support other people who are in the industry. Chris was talking about what he does. I think that there are some great people in the horror community that do that, and I think there are people in the horror community that don't necessarily. But I mean, it's really it's all about celebrating one another. And your lights went out. It's most time for you to go to bed, I guess. There we go. But so I think that's one of the biggest reasons why it can be exhausting a little bit at times and everything. So,
well, that's absolutely true. And the thing that you said a minute ago, which was, the first thing I heard was people not sharing and responding, and I think that, that's the hardest part for me. Is the reason that I got into being a performer was the connectivity of it with humans. In fact, if we're really going to, do a deep dive, the reason I probably got into being a performer is because it was helped me to avoid additional trauma. It helped me to align myself with people that I felt like, would keep me safe. And it helped me to get the attention of my parents, who were, sorely consumed with their own, bullshit. So it wasn't until much later in life that I've been able to draw, direct lines to some of those things about how and why I sing. But, I have a very clear memory of the first time that people like really clapped for me, and that's essentially what likes and sharing is. It's clapping. It's telling your best friend, like, oh my God, check this out. I do miss that about analog culture, where, like the physical mixtapes and that sort of stuff that iTunes basically killed off. People for a while were sharing playlists, and they still do. Don't get me wrong. I do it myself, but
Bearworld does it all the time, every month. So.
Yeah, but it's just like today. I spent some time with my friend Joe, and they just basically let the algorithm kind of feed them what they think is based off their likes on the app. So a lot of people do that.
Ellen Orlando, who played Gina in season 1 of Skeleton Crew, one of the reasons that she said that she kind of wanted to not do more of the show on a regular basis was because she loves performing because of the immediacy of the audience, and that's what she loved about theater and what she didn't really love about film, because you didn't get that sort of immediacy from it and everything. So
yeah, that's true. Something else that's true that I wanted to say real quick was that last week we were talking about, why is that not a ticker?
I don't know.
Let me get a ticker. Last week we were talking about Fangoria magazine.
Yes, and you whipped out your Fangoria.
Yeah, I did. It was pretty hot. Well, today in the mail, now that I'm on Fangoria's mailing list, I got this in the mail. It's a postcard for a new movie called The Five Devils.
Well, that's disconcerting.
Why?
Because it looks like our poster.
Oh, yeah, I guess a little bit, except there's a person inside that bottle.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, there is.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of look alike, I guess.
There's a lot of elements that are similar, I think.
Like what?
Well, what would you pay? What do you smell?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Well, the back of it is, got a little thing from RogerEbert.com, says it's extraordinary. Dazed said it's like a bisexual Back to the Future, queer, colorful, fantastical. So I just wanted to know, does anybody know what this movie is? So let's take a moment real quick. I just want to see the trailer for it. Pull it up for us. There it comes. I think it might be a foreign film.
It's French, yeah.
So bear with us on that. I don't know that what we're going to hear is an American cut. We'll see. Will you put me in? Oh, and it's a movie.
Tu sens quoi?
Pas grand-chose.
Ça sent l'oisie et ça sent aussi le champignon. Et puis il y a aussi l'odeur de l'animal qui l'a mangé.
Et moi, tu me sens?
Bah oui.
Julia.
Jesus.
Tu m'en veux d'avoir pété les plombs? Tu m'en veux d'avoir fait un enfant avec ton frère?
Je t'aime, maman. Je t'aime plus que tout.
Wow.
Very beautiful looking. It's a really well shot.
Yeah, so this is The Five Devils. It's streaming on Mubi, apparently. So you can get 30 days free of Mubi. I mean, we're not affiliated with Mubi, but anyway, we'd love to be. Get 30 days free at Mubi.com/Fangoria.
We'd also love to be affiliated with Fangoria, everyone. So,
well, we're going to be, and that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about. Is I've been taking my time reading the magazine. In fact, let me grab it.
We're also going longer than our 3 hours, so I think we're going to wrap up in a few minutes, everyone. But
the thing that I was just starting to read was about a different movie. No, it's the one I just read before that. This is the Evil Dead section. Before Evil Dead. Where was this? Essentially, what I saw was them writing about a movie that was queer-centric and kind of indie, kind of underdog, very sidekick vibes. Anyway, I just feel like they're doing such a great job of supporting all horror creators over there. So go get a subscription to Fangoria. We need to keep them around. That's the kind of coverage that really does matter. This only comes out 7 times a year. So anywho, that's my Fangoria. I was trying to say Pandoria. Fangoria pitch for this week. Josh, anything else that you want to pitch our listeners this week?
I want to pitch all of you who haven't seen Demon Doctor episodes 1 through 4 to go watch them, because episode 5 will be out soon. You heard it here tonight, so go watch episodes 1 through 4 of Demon Doctor. And support us, because we're about to launch into pre-production on our next mini little series. I mean mini because it will be shorter than anything we've made before.
You heard it here, folks. That's documented. It's
live, so.
It's live. Yeah. Okay, well, Josh, I had a really good time tonight. Chris and Dhafir were lovely guests. Y'all make sure to go follow them on Instagram. Check them out. Buy Theater While Fat. Buy Theater While Colored. Absolutely. And
they're only available on Amazon.com, but if you go there, you can get them. So
go stream Chris Conde's music at chrisconde.com. Check it out. Well, thank y'all so much. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Let's do this and then do.
And that's the tea.